All right, good evening, everyone. My clock has struck 6, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us. I know we have several more definitely funneling in here, but to respect everyone's time and get started here, I'd like to welcome you all to our Harrisburg ACF April chapter meeting. We certainly have a lot of exciting information added in for this evening. We have our national candidates that are running for the upcoming election that are joining us. We have a recorded demonstration of making of several different dishes, the reveal of our chopped competition, an announcement on our social media, our website page picture. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. But to start us all off with, for the first hour here, we're joined with a unique exclusive opportunity with Chef Cher Harris. They're at the new properties there in Chocolatetown. I don't see her, I know she is here. Also with Brian Daly, and they're going to be giving us an inside look at the properties. She's going to talk about how she got started and definitely all the ins and outs. I'm really excited. So without further ado, I welcome all of you and thank you again, Chef Cher Harris.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome you all to what we are calling Chocolatetown, the new area within Hershey Park. We were to open last May, but we did just open here in April. Parts of Chocolatetown opened last year, but the biggest and most exciting part for us in food and beverage is the building that we are about to show you. Right here is the very center of Chocolatetown, and that actually I think is very interesting because most of you do know what Hershey Park used to look like at the entrance. It does not look that way anymore. This spot is actually 7 feet higher than what it used to be 2 years ago. So we all know there used to be a lot of flooding problems, especially at the entrance of Hershey Park, and that has been issued. And this is part of the expansion that brought us actually closer also to Chocolate World. So the tram drop-off is now next to Chocolate World, whereas the tram drop-off used to be where the new entrance is. But what I really am very excited to show you is Building 30. And it's so funny I still call it that, but that's what it was called when it was only on the floor plans 3 years ago when we were looking at blueprints. But now it is what we call Supply Company. Supply Company is a building that is $23 million, part of a $150 million project, which is the largest expansion that Hershey Park has ever done. And I think that's pretty phenomenal, especially in the middle of a pandemic. Where we're about to go in, under the pinwheel in here, there are a lot of replicas of Hershey Park and things that they certainly wanted to pay tribute to. So we are entering an area that is 10,000 square feet of retail space. This retail space is the beginning of Supply Company, and it is also the new exit for the park. So everyone who exits this park now enters through this way before they exit for the evening. And the interesting part is, of course, that's next to all of our new food and beverage options that we have available. As I'm walking through, you'll be able to see portions of Sweetery and Milton's on the first floor, and up above we have Chocolatier. The Chocolatier, you're getting a sneak peek this evening. Does not open until Memorial Day, but we are going to take you through the restaurant from the front to the back. Oh, just sneaking up through here. So as many of you know, I've been with Hershey Entertainment Resort for some time. This is my 13th year with the company, and recently been working on this project for the last couple of years actually, and one of my compadres on this project has been Brian Daly, and he helps to run a lot of our restaurants here in Hershey. So I wanted to turn this portion over to him.
Thank you, Chef. Hi, everyone. I have my mask off. We're 6 foot social distancing. Just wanted so you can actually hear me. I'm Brian Daly. I work with the Pennsylvania Restaurant Lodging Association, and we also work with the ACF a lot in combined events. And so I'm very glad you're all joining us tonight. Come on up, sir. As Chef Cher mentioned, this project has been in the works for about a little over 2 years. And as you can see, this chocolatier restaurant is kind of a nod to Hershey Park's past, present, and future. So walk with me on a tour. So as you can see, you'll see a lot of things from the park. First part, you'll see these Comet car booths. Yes, you're actually going to be like on a roller coaster. Even has their very own seat belts in the booth. So a lot of little gimmicks and tricks that we have throughout the restaurant to kind of show you that you're still at the park, but yet you're at a little oasis away from the noise and more in air conditioned and covered with a roof so there's no rain. So you'll see we have great views. We have our stadium is right outside this window. So during concerts, during big events, you're going to be able to see them and probably hear them very well. So that will hopefully open up in this summer with when COVID releases some of the restrictions that we have. So continuing on, again, more part of park theming, you'll see we have a big carousel bar. So this one here has carousel horses, carousel mirrors, the lights. It doesn't go in a circle. That would probably be horrible, but you'll see our wonderful bar there. And those are actually mock-ups of 2 actual carousel horses behind the bar. Obviously not to scale, but you can see how beautiful and detailed they are, as well as all the lights around the bar, the mirrors, but it is absolutely stunning. All right, moving on, our view from upstairs where you first started, if you look over the railing, we're gonna be up here with, you know, adult beverages, great menu, some great music, and you're gonna be able to look over the ledge and see the whole gift shop in action. And as you saw the windows to the over here looking at the stadium, and then windows over here looking over the park. All right, follow me. Zoom humor. So tilt-a-whirl booths, I'm not sure if you saw them when you first walked in with us, but you'll see that we have 4 really cool mock-up tilt-a-whirl booths, which I think are gonna be the highlight of eating here. If you look, these are gonna seat 6 people. You'll see that they have lights, they have the whole tilt-a-whirl style. You got a little private area for 6 different people in here, which I think is just gonna be so much fun for our guests to try. And I think it's gonna have them stand out almost like a VIP table. So we hope that you join us. Follow me over here. If you look up top, we have a lot of cool roller coaster themes. These are fiber optic lights, kind of in the shape of our roller coasters. And for the life of me, I still can't remember which one is which. Chef, do you know?
I believe it's Skyrush, Comet, and Candemonium.
There you go.
That's yet to be confirmed.
Yep, well, these will take on the shape of our roller coasters. So as the guests dine with us, they're going to be looking at the whole, kind of the patterns of all the roller coasters. We'll have logos throughout the tables, fun pinwheels. You're going to see little hints of park throughout the building. We're missing some artwork, but those will be up soon as well. Okay, let's go over here. So this is the other side of the restaurant. This is the side that looks over Hershey Park. And what you're noticing is we're missing 2 tables. All right, these are going to be signature Milton Hershey school tables, actually designed by the kids at the school. We should have them in a couple weeks. They're going to put them down. These are going to be for parties of 10. And we're going to have a placard in there. We're going to have the chocolatier logo, but the kids are actually building these 2 tables. And if you look out the window, it is a beautiful view of Hershey Park. Wish the weather looked nicer, but you'll see the carousel outside. And so everyone's going to have wherever you sit, you have a view.
And you can even see Candemonium.
Yeah, there's Candemonium. So we'll walk back here. I'll show you, well, a couple more things, then I'll turn it over to Chef in the kitchen. So moving over here, we also have a big patio. And if you look out this door, we can't go out it because they just finished the floors. But we'll have our own bar outside. So we actually have 2 bars here, the carousel bar that you saw and the bar underneath that canopy that we have. There's going to be about 157 seats outside, and 115 of those are dining tables. And inside we have 290 seats, and that includes 28 seats around the bar. So you'll see we can hold a lot of volume as you kind of pan through the whole restaurant. Right here, you'll see all the tables, the booths, the chairs, the flow. We'll seat a lot of people. You're going to start here and look at this whole hotline. I'm going to turn this over to our executive chef, Chef Rick Larson. It was a lot of fun talking to you guys. All right, I've never done this on Zoom before, so kudos, but thank you all. Here's our chef.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi. So I'm Chef Rick Larson. I'm the executive chef here at the Chocolatier. I'm probably one of the newest to the Hershey Park team. I joined in February of 2020, kind of just in time for everything to lock down and shut down. I moved here out of New York, where I spent the last 4 years working for Aramark Sports and Entertainment in Major League Baseball. Spent 4 years working for my hometown team, the New York Mets. And now I get to make another childhood memory into a work experience by working here at Hershey Park. So this is the front of our line here, our expo line. It serves a dual purpose actually, because all of these tables up front have induction burners built into them. So when we ease a little bit of the COVID restrictions and we do bring our breakfast buffet program into play, which will probably be more towards Christmas time this year for a breakfast with Santa type event, we'll be able to set our induction chafing dishes right on top of these counters here and fire up the warmers underneath before we pull everything down for lunch dinner service, and we can utilize these tables to plate up dishes and set up our server trays. So the line is fairly long. It's going to be a multi-person effort between a chef on the expo station and some wingmen kind of pulling things from the window here. While we're here, I did want to point out a couple of just the really nice touches that the company has put into this. This you're going to see a lot. This is our specialty item right here. This is our Ferris wheel appetizer sampler. So it will hold 5 different items. It's built to feed 4 people. These are custom made for us. Little snap-on decor right here, so everything can be broken down and cleaned with a lot of ease. And this will give everybody a good taste of the appetizer menu. Just some other things we have here: custom-made sandwich boards, custom logoed plates for Chef Cher's dessert creations here. And then this killer fondue board. Chef has an amazing chocolate fondue dish that's going to be going out, and it could probably feed a whole family. So I'll take you back into the kitchen.
Chef Rick, where did you work at before you came here?
So I was a premium dining chef for the New York Mets for 4 years and 2 years for the Boston Red Sox before that.
Awesome.
So here we're entering our prep kitchen and dish room space. So everything is, there's just so much space back here. There was a lot of thought put into building out this kitchen. I mean, a dish room the size of some kitchens that I've worked in before. So to have this firepower just for the dishwashers is fantastic, as I'm sure everybody can imagine. And then venturing further in, I do apologize. We're kind of still unpacking everything and getting plates out and washed. So it's a little bit of a cluster in here right now. But this is our prep kitchen space. So it's just built for all sorts of firepower. Plenty of pot holding for our buffet program that we're going to be launching into. While we're over here, let's show off one of our custom pieces here. So these are custom designed Hershey Kiss Lodge cast iron skillets. So these were originally developed to house a dessert on our dessert menu. And with the minimum order being so large to get them custom made, we're putting quite a few different dishes into this. So they're going to get a lot of use all throughout the restaurant. These are just really cool, heavy duty. I mean, they're Lodge cast iron, so they're a great product. So in terms of firepower, I mean, they gave me a beautiful kitchen, 6 half-stack Ultrasham combi ovens, and I'm sure, I don't have to spend a lot of time explaining this to everybody on the call, how cool these things are and how many different things they can do. One of the big highlights is, we're trying to do as much house-made preparation as we can, given the volume that we're doing. So one of the things myself and my 2 sous chefs have been working on this week is the pulled pork and the house smoked ribs that we're going to be doing here. So all of these have the wood chip containers, so we get smoke within them. And then at the end of the day, we've got 2 of them running on the cleaning cycle right now, so that we can clean them all inside out, and there's no flavor transfer and anything else we're doing later. So just really cool pieces of equipment. Beyond that, I mean, it's a fairly standard kitchen setup here, just a large amount of space, and we can walk out into the hotline now and take a stroll through there. So as you saw from the frontline view, it is an open kitchen. We're about less than 10 feet from kitchen line to the first table. So obviously a huge emphasis on kitchen cleanliness, professionalism, and just putting out the best food that we can. So we have this beautiful double deck pizza oven here. We're going to be doing a lot of flatbreads, some kids pizza. We're going to utilize those cast irons as well for some cast iron fired dishes, like a loaded mac and cheese or some fire roasted Brussels sprouts, to give a lot of variety to the menu. As we venture further, with our saute station down here, we have a few pasta dishes on the menu, a short rib, a roasted half chicken. So the idea with our menu was to, obviously, we took our location into account. You know, we're not a theme park restaurant. We just happen to be a restaurant that is located at the entrance to a theme park. So we're very big about making that distinction. We do have a big emphasis on sandwiches, handhelds, and burgers, because we know that the crowd is going to be fast, grab and go, get a quick bite, start their day, or come in for lunch and get back out there. But at the same time, you know, we want to make sure that we're appealing to the local crowd, and we're getting people in here year round. So there are some more composed plates, the short rib, like I mentioned, a New York strip steak, a filet mignon. So a really nice variety all to the menu to try to appeal to a little bit of everybody. We come down here, we just have this monster of a grill station here. Between our flat top, we have a really nice Cuban sandwich that's going to be coming off of this sandwich press. It's kind of a nod to our founder, Milton Hershey, and his time spent down in Cuba and the company's history in Cuba there. So we get further down, our fry station. We're lucky enough that our fry stations are all set up on RTI fry system, so we can load the fresh oil up from the tanks in the basement and dispose of our waste oil right down there. So no more loading 20-gallon stock pot up with hot oil and potentially having an employee get hurt or spilling everything. So just a much cleaner, safer system, as I'm sure you all can understand. Here we have our pantry station. And then this corner of the world is for Chef Cher and her amazing dessert menu that she's put together. So we have about 7 or 8 desserts we're going to be putting on the menu. Really nice plated desserts, as well as some really just big over-the-top milkshakes. So they're going to be going in glasses like this that will have our chocolatier logoing on there, and they'll be rimmed and all sorts of good stuff on top. So we're really excited about those. You want to pass through the loading dock and then head down your way? And just to show off 1 or 2 more things of the area up here, some more thought and focus that went into this building. The company was even kind enough to put in a break room in here for our employees to grab their meal break, sit down for a few minutes before they clock in. You know, I'm sure most of the people on this call have, you know, punched over the dishwasher or something to scarf down a burger real quick in the middle of service. So we wanted to give our employees a little bit of a nicer environment to have that, to take the changing nature of our business into account there. As we go further back here, just showing a little bit of our loading dock and receiving process. And this is an area where we're very fortunate, pardon me, to be working with the park team. And their F&B team, their receiving warehousing team, they've kind of taken over this entire area in order to assist us. So we have a huge walk-in freezer here that's going to be utilized for overflow chicken tenders, French fries, all those theme park staples that you're going to find. And you'll see a little bit of where that's being used downstairs in Milton. So, you know, we're going to be burning through some French fries here, and so we'll have pallets of things locked and loaded in this freezer as we need. And this is just our whole back dock receiving area. So we partnered with the park team. I believe Mr. Duty's on the call. He's doing a great job in getting this all set up so that all the trucks that are coming for this entire building, from Chef Cher's kitchen to the ice cream parlor to my own kitchen, everything is coming through this main loading dock area. And as you all know, that's quite a lot to deal with. So the park receiving team has been fantastic in developing an SOP and a system for getting deliveries in here, getting them sorted to where they need to go, and just dealing with all the accounting and the invoicing and everything like that. So we're really fortunate to have this great team environment. And that's my restaurant. So thank you all for having me today.
I think it's worth noting, and maybe you just carry and follow me, that this level right here is actually the 2nd floor. So think about the back of the building. We're receiving everything on the 2nd level, but we've actually got 3 levels to this building. And we also receive for all of retail, that 10,000 square foot gets received on this same dock. Now their storeroom is actually located on the first floor. So it's very interesting how they had to build this building and make it work within the landscape that we had and still make it have that appeal and fall into Chocolate Town. I'm going to start to head downstairs and back down to where Milton's is at, as well as Sweetery. So as mentioned, Brian and I have been on this project together for at least 2 years, and trying to really develop and pay an honor to Milton Hershey in different manners was very important to the company and the reason for why we were building this building. This building is a total of 27,000 square feet, and we are blessed enough that about 17,000 of that are warehouse storage here in the back and all food and beverage upstairs and downstairs, with the addition then of the front retail space that you saw. So this now connects in, and this would be how my employees would come to work. So they're going to enter upstairs behind Chocolatier and come down through here, and we're entering into the back part of the kitchen of Milton's Ice Cream Parlor. Milton's Ice Cream Parlor, of course, I'm going to talk a lot about the ice cream, but they do have a really great snack bar. They're doing reverse grilled cheeses where the cheese is grilled on the outside as well as on the inside. It's the most amazing thing ever. They have a bucket of like all kinds of fries with, I think, 20 different sauces, and some really great things that I think aren't always found in an amusement park. Things like their chicken is actually hand breaded here. So they're taking the extra step and really trying to do a quality product out of this space. So their little area in which they are doing those things is right here. They have a great hotline themselves, and I'm going to show you where we are going to land out front with that here in 1 second. So with Milton's, we were combined with the concessions team that already runs all of Hershey Park. And they're very good at knowing how to set things up to run things for thousands and thousands of people. And that certainly is something that I needed to learn myself. Through here, we're entering the guest area. So this is almost back to where we had first started. We're now back on the first floor. But you can see Milton's Ice Cream Parlor was really put together in a manner that they wanted to pay tribute to Milton Hershey and one of his first businesses, which was a confectionery shop, which included an ice cream parlor on Spring Garden Street in Philadelphia. And there is a nice mural here that dictates that whole process of his career. The pickup window for the hot food, as I mentioned, then would be right here where you would order and pick up the different types of shareables that they are making from Milton's as far as hot food. This is also the area where you would end your ice cream experience. So the fun thing for me and about learning about ice cream is I certainly was trained in how to make ice cream and make it for maybe a restaurant that serves 200 people. When I said I could make the ice cream for this establishment, I didn't realize I would be doing it for possibly 30,000 people in one day. So I had a lot to learn about ice cream, and we'll get into that as I go back into the kitchen. But certainly it became very evident that I wanted to be able to pay a tribute to Milton Hershey again in a manner that I wanted to be able to make the ice cream from scratch. And that is something that is not done on a volume level a whole lot in a manner that I do pasteurize my own base. And we are making our own flavors that don't have a lot of inclusions in it. So if you see over here, you would start your ordering process. The queue line comes through here where you will meet someone set up with a tablet to quickly take your order and pair you up with an ice creamologist, which then walks you through the experience. You can create your own sundae. You can get a prescribed sundae that we already have made for you. We have warm, I call them panini sandwiches, but it's a warm ice cream sandwich with a brownie on the outside. We have milkshakes, floats, everything that you would expect at an ice cream parlor. But the cases that I have right now 16 flavors that we are offering, but we did it in a double fashion so that we can service basically 2 families at a time throughout each of the locations here at the cases. So each case holds the same flavor so we can quickly get them what they're looking for. And then around to the topping station, each of the topping stations has 24 different toppings that they can choose from. And toppings are unlimited based upon what size ice cream you actually are ordering. And then flowing back through around to pay and hopefully buy your warm shareables at the end. So as far as the ice cream, that was one of my bigger things to learn in this process. There certainly was many. And I will show you that as soon as we get back to the kitchen. But I'll show you the front part of Sweetery here. So Sweetery is connected to Milton's, and in a manner that we want to have people enjoy a little bit of everything sweet, certainly on their way out of the park. Trying to design this and being a feeling of a old confectionery area, but with some other recognizable things being just some good candies and cookies, and then we certainly do have some specialty desserts in our cases. But we did want to hook up that we were doing our own fudge, and we're doing it in a Mackinac style where we're actually paddling on the marble tables. In my fudge learning in this process, I certainly could have ordered cooling tables that could help me with that fudge and getting it to come down faster in temperature and be able to produce more faster. But with the fudge, we decided to keep it in the original way that it has been made for this style of fudge, and that it needs at least a 4-inch marble slab to cool the fudge down. Each batch of fudge is about 25 pounds and takes about an hour and a half to make. Therefore, I needed the 2 tables in order to rotate to cool down the process and set the fudge up. Each one of those tables weighs about 700 pounds. I'm going to take you back into the kitchen for the Sweetery and Milton's area. So I would say I am also very blessed in that this is the first time I've worked in a bake shop that I have my own dish room. So I don't have to share my my Cambros with people that are putting garlic in it and fighting over RoboCoupe blades. So I'm very happy that we were able to build it in that manner. Due to the volume and realizing what all we were trying to do as far as baking and pastry, combining confectionery and chocolates, and then as well as making ice cream, to put it in an area that is basically for finishing. So this would be the area where we're doing all of our cutting and glazing of items to go out to the door. The corner door actually goes right out to where the fudge kettles are at. Certainly, most of you are going to know all of this equipment. I do have Alto shams in here also. I do not have the smoking option, although we do smoke our graham cracker crumbs, and I just use Rick's oven for that. Brian. So rack rotating ovens. So these are convection with steam, but as well, I certainly can have the steam combi option with the Alto shams. I do have a proofer retarder. We have a dough rounder, although we're not doing that quite yet, but I know it's bound to come. And then certainly in the planning process, and I'm very fortunate to have been able to be a part of the process from the beginning. And I will go back to that. That's part of my experience. The other large opening that I have done was at Hollywood Casino. Although I was hired kind of like Rick, that it was pretty much built for me, and I had to figure out how to deal with what was built. So what I had learned from there and how things work as far as operationally speaking, I put a lot of thought into how I was going to take what they do and try to make it bigger for a better volume in order to work for a pastry chef. The ice cream room, certainly the state of Pennsylvania is one of the more difficult ones as far as making ice cream because we do get tested. So we get tested monthly. If you fail 3 times, they basically pull your license. So I wanted to incorporate a room that was completely separated. They wash and sanitize everything in that room. The room is built with all the things that they need in order to do so to keep everything confined. So with those 16 flavors of ice cream that we have, we almost always have someone in this room producing, and it will get to be probably 2 or 3 shifts for me very soon. So in here, the first 2 machines are actually pasteurizers. And I cannot say that in the state of Pennsylvania because we technically are not allowed to pasteurize, but that is what the machine is doing. So I am taking the bases up to 180 degrees in this machine. And for HACCP standards to be even aligned with that, although currently the state of Pennsylvania is not requiring it, I am hooked up to a system that dictates and transfers to my computer every 4 hours so I know what temperature that base is at. They wanted to be sure that overnight I leave that in there, that at 2 a.m. it doesn't go down and I don't know what's going on. So in a way to say that if we're doing this, we are doing it safe the whole way through. So pasteurizing base up to the 140, to the 180, it brings it down and it holds it there. So this machine does a good amount of the work for us. And this machine actually can dispense up to 15 liters of ice cream at one time. So just to get you in that, and what that means is 15 liters, 1 liter is equal to 1.2 gallons. So maybe 18, 19 gallons. I can't do math fast enough. My world is now all metric. So the other 2 machines, the larger one can dispense 5-liter pans, and the one on the right can dispense 2 5-liter pans at one time. So basically within an hour, we could be pushing out up to 19 cans of ice cream and then putting it into our freezer. Obviously understanding the volume of what I was walking into, the point that I thought we needed to set this up. So she is dispensing right now mint chocolate chip. What she'll do with that then is it does go into the freezer here in the corner. So this freezer is a shock freezer, which takes it down to -30 degrees to set and stabilize those ice crystals inside of the ice cream properly. After that, it has to stay in that freezer for about 15 minutes to get it into that right structure of the ice crystals throughout the ice cream, and then we can store it into another freezer. So I did put in a freezer that holds just the ice cream, and we'll just look in the door. We had a pretty rough weekend because there are a lot of empty shelves in there. So in my ideal world, all of these shelves would be full of all the ice cream in order for us to make it through an entire weekend in the summertime is the plan. So we are certainly still growing into the kitchen that we have here, but I can foresee, and I see it very quickly, that we will grow into it pretty quickly. So from there, storage as far as the ice cream and being able to keep it to the right temperature that I want it. This one stores about -10 at all times. So it's keeping it at a good temperature to keep the consistency of the ice cream. And I can hold it in here and knowing that I have a good quality for about 60 days. Granted, right now, I'm lucky if I can keep it 5. So I'm not gonna have that problem. From there, we move it to a freezer in the front. So during service, right now we're closed. We're closing at 5 o'clock right now, so that's why it's so empty in here. I have 2 freezers at the front that we transfer and fill that freezer constantly to allow the temperature to come up to a scooping temperature before they actually take it out to the cases. There's nothing worse than watching someone try to struggle through scooping, especially if they're scooping 2,000 scoops a day. We want them to scoop their hands. So that's my ice cream experience and a little bit of what I wanted to show that we do here as far as Milton's Parlor.
Chef, I have a question for you. I knew you were waiting for it. So you mentioned about how many people you're serving ice cream to a day. What kind of volume per week are you making ice cream? And one of the questions came through the chat, how much milk are you using per week?
Well, you know, I will say that I'm still working through learning my ordering process. And that is one thing about this. Now, I mentioned that I was with Hershey Entertainment for 13 years. This property is completely different. I've been in the resort side of it. I am learning so much being here and the way that things operate. I mean, I now do my own ordering, my purchasing. I have to watch a whole lot more of what I'm doing and keeping on top of it. At the same time, it's not bad for a business mind to know that. I can't tell you today because I feel like I order milk every other day right now because I am trying to keep up on it. I think I did not mention to you, and I think it's the other reason, not only were we making the batch from scratch, but we are using 100% local dairy. And that is hard to do in order to do it at the volume that we're doing it. So I've had weeks where my supplier is running low on milk because my heavy cream only has a 12-day shelf life. So I have to be very cognizant of how I'm ordering to not run out of milk, have it expire. So I'm working through that right now is my answer, but it's a lot. Any other questions?
Where do you get your milk from, Chef?
We use Feasers, but it is Lehigh Valley and Turkey Hill combination.
Okay, great. If anyone else has questions, please feel free to add them in the chat, or you should be able to unmute yourself and just ask, you know, out loud. I got to say, wow, 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 wow. And I think a lot of people can, you know, express the same. This is amazing. This was awesome to be able to see. So Chef, what was your background? How did you get to, you mentioned going to the casino, you mentioned, you know, coming here, you've been here for 13 years. How did you get started in the industry?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that question. I got started like anyone else, that I just got a job when I was 14 years old. But the difference is, and I would say, is that I did not go to school. I am not formally trained. I went to the School of Hard Knocks. So I worked in every restaurant, every family style restaurant. I worked in country clubs, of course, the casino. I worked at Harrisburg Area Community College for some time when they had a convention center. So just trying to expose myself to as many different things as I could and push myself to get out there, which is why I would then give a nod to ACF, because I did make myself get into competitions. And I think that was another way that I challenged myself throughout the years.
So I know there's a couple competitions that I could ask about, but what were some of your biggest accomplishments competition-wise?
Well, there were many ACF competitions that led up to some of my larger ones. So I think like anything, you have to start out small. I challenged myself with just hot food, cold food, and kept putting and I'll tell you, it's a very humbling experience. Then I did try out for Team USA and I didn't make it. I went at the same time, I had just gone through my CEPC, and that can be pretty challenging in itself. And I decided that I still had something to prove to myself. So I got hooked up with Susan Notter. I was very fortunate to have her as my mentor for 2 years as we trained to go to Pastry Queen. She had been a part of the Pastry Queen competition in the second year that it was held. She competed and placed second, and she was determined that the U.S. was going to win. So she took me the third time that they ran it, and we actually won for the United States, competing against 11 other countries. So that was pretty awesome to go through and to be a part of that. But certainly after that, I certainly then was fortunate enough. I was named one of the top 10 pastry chefs in America. Like, it just led to so many things between 2014, 15, and 16. I had tried out for regionals of Pastry Chef of the Year 2 times, and then finally went to nationals in 2016. And I would say that was my second biggest when I had won nationals for ACF also.
Very awesome. Congratulations again. We had a couple more questions come through. One of our students was asking, what is your favorite ingredient to use for your desserts? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I am a Hershey, I should say chocolate. You know, I'm not a big chocolate lover to eat it, but I do love to work with it. So I love to do chocolate sculptures. So I'm just going to answer with chocolate for today.
And what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Since you're making so many different, favorite and most unique, I'm going to say.
Well, before Milton's opened, it was butter pecan. But like I said, we don't do normal flavors here. So right now, my favorite flavor is probably toasted marshmallow.
Nice. Here's another question. Other than scooped ice cream, are you doing ice cream cakes, cookie sandwiches? I know you mentioned a few warm outer brownie pieces for those sandwiches.
No, let me take baby steps first. It's a lot of ice cream to make, and no, we're not getting into that quite yet.
All right. And if anyone else has other questions, feel free to pipe in. I do want to ask again for anyone that's on, anyone that might view this recording, I know you're still hiring, right? Are there job opportunities?
We are, and that was going to be my last plug, of course, is we are certainly still hiring. With Chocolatier opening Memorial Day weekend, we are still desperately in need of many cooks, just as many places are. But I think you can see the opportunities that we have available, especially in that restaurant, and all that's going to be going on. It is the very first restaurant within the park that is going to have a bar, not only one, but two. And I think it's going to be a pretty happening place. So there are a lot of opportunities here, as you can obviously see.
Great. And we can get that link posted in the chat then. I believe it's HersheyJobs.com.
HersheyJobs.com.
All right.
Thank you.
Another question came through, and I know I heard Chef mention about the Cuban. Are there other signature dishes? Like there's a sweetery, you have the fudge. Are there signature dishes at each of these that you would say stand?
There are some signature dishes. There is a nod to chicken and waffles because it was Milton Hershey's favorite. So there is a version of chicken and waffles downstairs as well as upstairs. Correct, Rick?
That is correct. Yep, we're doing a chicken and waffle, more of a composed entree upstairs. So we're actually, that's a really cool partnership that we had with the Milton Hershey School and working with their culinary program there. Is we pitched the idea of, what our signature dish was going to be. And that's a big homage to Milton Hershey. That was the one dish he would always get at the Hershey Park restaurant way, way back in the day. And so we're fortunate enough to work with the students at Milton Hershey School, and they went and they created that chicken and waffle dish in their kitchens there. And obviously this year was a little bit difficult. We weren't able to be on site working with them, but they took a ton of great photos, sent over some recipes, and they really worked it through. We're really proud of them and really proud of that relationship that we have. So we took that and we just dialed it in a little bit more for the actual restaurant setting, and put a little bit more of a spin on it. But we're very happy about that. So
awesome, thank you. Another question, and just to make sure we're all on the same page, this is outside of the park, so it's open to anyone, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So we're located directly at the new entrance, and part of that retail store that we were walking through earlier has an entrance into the park itself. So we're accessible to both park guests and the general public. And we will be open, 363? I think we get 2 holidays, give or take. But about 363, 64 days out of the year. So. And
you mentioned breakfast. What time are you opening? What are your
So right now, when we open up for Memorial Day weekend, we will not be doing our breakfast program right away. A big facet of that was having the characters walk around the restaurant, interact with the families there. But obviously, given COVID mitigations, we really can't do that right now. So we will be opening for lunch and dinner, opening up at 11 a.m. And then hopefully breakfast will be going on in December, a little bit closer to Christmas time, so we can do a breakfast with Santa, which is one of the biggest draws here in Hershey.
Awesome. I'm going to stick with you, Chef. Another question here.
Sure.
How have you incorporated chocolate in the savory side of things? Are there dishes that really focus and carry the chocolate theme through?
Yep. So that's one of the parameters, and I'm sorry I failed to mention that earlier upstairs. So that was one of the parameters we wrote the menu around, was how could we incorporate hints of chocolate throughout the menu. And for me, that's been a really fun and challenging experience here to, it's very easy to say, oh, I'm going to put a cocoa rub in this, or I'm going to put chocolate barbecue on this. And those are really good mainstays. The chocolate barbecue is found all throughout a lot of restaurants here in the company. But for me, it was how do we take it in different directions, and how do we get a little more creative with it? So utilizing dark chocolate in the chili that we're making as our signature soup to balance the acidity and the spice, with those earthy, bitter tones. We've even gone as far as to take the cocoa nib itself, which we've actually sourced from the Hershey company in a partnership with them. It's the actual same cocoa nib that they use in making the chocolate and making a spin on a gremolata. So instead of using your traditional breadcrumb and parsley, we're using the cocoa nib in place of the breadcrumb there and using that as a garnish for the mac and cheese or for the shortbread. So really just trying to push to use it as creatively as possible.
Very awesome. Thank you. And
Thank you.
on the call, you should be able to unmute yourself now. My Zoom skills are slightly rusty, it seems like, but hopefully you can unmute and ask questions as you'd like to. I know there's been a couple in the chat. Just again, this is a great opportunity for students, tons of employment opportunities, and again, this was an excellent glance inside. Chef, looks like you were going to say something.
I'm good. Do you have any other questions?
I do not. I was wondering if anyone else did, and again, I had a slight error that it looked like someone couldn't unmute themselves, but hopefully you're all able to now. Still looks like not. I don't know why.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I just really wanted to take this opportunity to show the property and what we have here and what we are starting to build, and certainly going to grow throughout this summer. So looking forward to seeing Leach come out and check it out.
We very much appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chef. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Chef in the background, and to your camera crew, Brian, who loves chocolate cookies.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it was the same Brian. I thought
Yes.
there was a different Brian in there.
There's
I
two.
understand the
He's over
chocolate chip
there.
cookies.
You got one, you got me. It's a great, listen, let me flip this around. This is going to be a tremendous opening with an amazing team. I mean, you see the culinary firepower that's here, the front of house firepower. I have never done an opening like this in my life. I've done 23 openings and never to this scale. And I am blessed to have the firepower of Hershey Park, Hershey Entertainment, Resorts, just some amazing folks working with us. This is going to be a wonderful opening. We do need staff. That is a shameless plug, please. You know, we have a whole dessert section. So any pastry students that want to get involved in desserts, we have it. We have a whole line, prep area, dish room, and a whole front of house team. And I hope you come visit us during the opening, but it's going to be an amazing ride.
Well, again, thank you very much. We really appreciate this inside scoop, and we will make sure to get it out and get the word out as much as possible. I know I sat in an advisory meeting and I heard your numbers and how many, different positions you had open. So we're hoping at least some on the call and getting the word out for sure. Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Excellent. I appreciate it. Any other last minute questions anyone has? I think you can unmute yourself now. All right. Okay. Not seeing anyone rush for the mute button then. Again, I thought that was awesome. So hopefully you all enjoyed as well. I know we had some questions and follow-up questions. We certainly can get to Chef Cher then as well as she'll be on the meeting if you think of it down the road here. All right. Well, we're a little bit early. It's 7:18, but I say we move ahead. Again, we have an action-packed, a packed agenda for tonight. And I'd certainly like to go ahead and move on to the business portion if we can then. If I can entertain a motion to get started, please. No unmuting power. Oh, bugger. You should be able to allow. Okay, now try.
No moved.
Yes!
Second.
Yes! It is a struggle each day. All right.
Second.
Brian was saying so moved for 20 minutes.
Second by the whole crowd. Okay.
Moved.
So moved. We'll go ahead and get started. All right. Officially welcome everyone to the Harrisburg April ACF meeting. We've had a fantastic presentation and we'll go ahead and move on to the business portion of the meeting. To get started, I'm going to go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to unmute or keep yourself muted just for the sake of efficiency, feel free. I'll go ahead and get started. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of
and
America,
to the republic
to the
for which
republic
it
which
stands,
stands one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty,
and justice
for all.
Amen.
For all. Amen.
Thank you all. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started then with our agenda. I'd like to welcome all of our members, all of our guests. I will go ahead with a quick roll call, because I know we are introducing in person some of our guests here tonight. I see we have Doogie, Chef Peffley, Chef Harris still with us, Chef Jay-Z. On the iPhone, I believe is Brian Daly yet. We have Renee, Chef Long, Chef David Ivy Soto. Thank you for joining us. Chef Tim Harris. We have Julie, Chef Herons. We have Chef Reese, Anna, Terry Wright, Rashida. Chef Wright, thank you for joining us, Mark. We have Alvin, Sean, Chef Moen, thank you for joining us. Donald, Joe, we have a Carson, Susan, I believe Chef Nodder, thank you for joining us. Tracy Gottschall. If I am missing, I believe Chef Daco is here with us as well. We have Uria. I believe I'm catching everyone. So thank you all for joining us. I know we had some join us for the educational presentation. Some may be joining us throughout the evening. Again, this meeting is open throughout the entirety for anyone to come in and out. So please keep that in mind for future meetings as well. However, end is in sight. I can see us getting together in person in just 2 short months in June. We are all set to go at Hershey Park. We will be social distance. We will have a blast, and we'll all get to see each other in person. We'll have that opportunity. So more to come here as we get through that.
Autumn,
Start off, yes.
if I may, I'd like to introduce Warren Lee, who just accompanied me on a site visit up in Maine. And Warren is from Western Massachusetts. Sorry, Warren. He's in there somewhere.
Yes, I do see him. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Does anybody else? I know we have our national candidates that I will get to introducing you in just a minute. So thank you for joining us. Does anybody else have a guest tonight they'd like to introduce? I just scrolled through my double Brady Bunch screen. Okay, good. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started then with the meeting agenda. The first thing was our mise en place. Actually, before I share my screen, let's do a little Q&A. Who can tell me, other than the board members, put it in the chat or unmute yourself, who was our student that was spotlighted last month?
Renee.
Yes, thank you, Doogie. Renee was spotlighted. Renee is our secretary on the board. She is graduating here in, well, I know, right? Don't get too excited. There are 4 more classes she has. I'm her instructor for 2 of them, but 4 more days of classes and she will be graduated. So congratulations to you, Renee. Certainly a time to still get her in there and make sure that we're all familiar. She is also a professional member in that she brings a lot of experience to the table. There's a lot to read about her. So I'm glad she was spotlighted this month. Coming up next month, we have Terry Wright, a student that has been a part of our chapter for quite a few years. You've all interacted with him. And again, I think a great student to spotlight in that. So yes, Renee. What was the ingredient of the month? Anybody know?
Butter!
Butter.
All right, so it sounds like either you opened up, scoped out the first couple pages, or you really read and looked at it all, so yay. I'm gonna say yay on that one. I do have it here in one of my documents. Here we go. So did anyone have any edits, any suggestions, anything with this newsletter other than, wow, how awesome, look at all this, check it out? Any edits, any notes, anything for discussion on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Brian.
Second.
Chef Peffley for the first, we have Chef Long for a second. The motion is to approve the minutes as represented and recorded in the March 2021 mise en place. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye. Raise a hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Likewise. Okay, the motion will carry then. Thank you. And again, I would like to give extra thanks to Renee. She really took that on, added a lot of graphics, made it exciting. It's a great read, so I appreciate that. I do want to reiterate, if something is in the newsletter, it was mentioned throughout the meeting. We are not sticking information in there to make sure that you read it. We want to make sure that we recap everything. If there's any last minute updates, we'll make sure to send that in email communication separately. Okay, next up, we have Chef Harris with the treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone. For our accounts, we have in our checking account $3,027.83. Our savings account has $5,349.22. And our scholarship fund has $200 in it.
gives us a total of $8,577.05. We have had no movement in any of our accounts within the last 30 days.
Thank you, Chef. Any questions or discussion on the treasurer's report?
Yes, how come there's only $200 in the scholarship account?
I believe that was a rhetorical question.
It was a rhetorical question.
But so noted, thank you. Any other questions, discussion?
I do have a question. Chef, was the, is Venmo ready yet or not?
Not quite yet,
Okay, thank you.
but that will be the route that we'll be going as in order to transfer money into that account, and or if you're not comfortable with that, you can contact me personally.
Thank you, Chef. Any other discussion with the treasurer's report? Okay. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion then, please.
So move, Bob Coral.
Chef Coral, thank
Second,
you.
Michael Herentz.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report as stated by Chef Harris, please vote by saying aye. Thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise? Okay, we'll carry that motion then as well. Thank you, Chef. Okay, moving on to the president's message. I have overly tried to communicate the ins and outs of our upcoming election. The importance of it, I've come back with after going to the town hall meetings. I've shown you where to find the information. Furthermore, I've sent an email out with, here is more information. Again, read those bios, read those statements. I can attest after viewing all of this that all of these candidates are valuable candidates that are running. I've invited all of the candidates to join us tonight. I want you to have a face with the name. I want you to know who's on the ballot. I want you to want to vote. I want you to hear these individuals, what they're bringing to the table, and have a say in it. You all have a say. First off, I want to just make sure we're clear. The voting will start on April 26th. An email will go out, and you will have until May 10th at midnight Hawaiian Standard or Hawaiian time. So in other words, April 26th, look for the email and get your vote in. The email will be...
Actually, the email will come on May 1st.
Thank you. May 1st now, okay. So May 1st, the email will come out. I just looked at the communication that came out, so I appreciate you following up with that, Chef. So the email that will come out will be labeled ACF Official Election Ballot. That's what you're looking for. Once I get the email and I see it, I will even furthermore say, hey, this is exactly what you're looking for. Here, who's coming from. It was just sent out to make sure that if, in case it goes into your junk folder, spam, your other folder, what have you. So I just want to make sure everyone was clear on that process, that they are going to be electronic ballots, be sent out via email. And to be eligible, you must have been a current member as of March 31st. Okay? And with that, making sure you have all your current email information, everything in the system so that you can get that ballot. Right? And I'll communicate so that way you can let me know if for some reason you haven't gotten it and we can reach out. So with that, I thank all of the candidates that have joined us this evening. I had sent out an email to both the chapter as well as to the candidates of some additional questions. And I thank Michael for really working on formatting those questions. We've attended all of these town halls. We've heard all of the questions being asked. We've read the follow-up questions. So coming up with what's another question we want as a response and something for each of you to hear. So I'd like to start off with the presidential candidates. And I've asked Michael to copy and paste the questions that we posed. That way, if you want to look back and reference it, you can. And I believe we have both of our candidates here. Great. I'm going to go ahead and start with Chef Wright. I know you had other things as well this evening that I wanted to make sure I could start with you. Great. It looks like you're unmuted, Chef. Welcome.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
This evening.
So just to answer the question that you sent out, right?
Well, you certainly introduce yourself, and then
Okay.
if you could address the question, then yes.
All right. My name is Mark Wright, and I am a member of the ACF of Greater Buffalo. And every now and then I look over because we're having a chapter meeting tonight, so we have some things going on there. But I've been a member of ACF for since 1971. I was my chapter's first junior member, and I've stuck with it through thick and thin. And I'm still here. So that's a little bit about me.
All right, Chef. And the question is really that we'd like you to address is how will accountability be applied to the board and office department heads to ensure long-term growth and stability of the Federation? And basically, how do you plan to leave it in a better position than how you found it?
Well, all righty. The long-term growth, I really, our core business, I think, is education, certification, and accreditation. I think which are all performing very well during these pandemics. Our staff has dealt with cuts, and we've hired some great directors who are very pro ACF. Our educational programs are thriving. Although virtual, they're performing very well and giving membership adequate educational opportunities. Accreditation has and continues to perform well, even with the constant strain of schools closing and all that. The board is ultimately responsible for stability. Office, volunteers, staff, working on improving and bringing in new programs that will enhance our opportunity. I think one of the questions was staff is reviewed yearly by their directors, and the directors by the executive director, and the executive director is reviewed by the president and right now, and if elected, I think it should be a board decision, and I think that's where we need to go. I plan on working on the membership behalf, on the membership's behalf, to continue our strategies we have in place. I'm removing any misconceptions people may have, being honest, communicating on a regular basis, and being dedicated, straightforward, and loyal to the ACF. I have no other reasons to run. I know some of the questions said, the loss, drop in membership, and we've talked about that, and I said this repeatedly during the campaign, that it's really not up to the board of directors per se to bring in members, but I think it's more important for us chapter leaders. I consider myself a chapter leader still. I'm very active in my chapter. Us chapter leaders to bring in members, and I've brought in my fair share of members, and I've said that before. Some people ask us about our finances. We've sold the building, and we're looking for, which was in need of constant repair. It was too big, and we found out during this pandemic that our staff can work just as well off-site as they worked on-site. In fact, sometimes I think they're working a little bit better, independently. There's not interruptions per se and things like that with a lot of people around in an office. So we sold the office, and we're moving into a smaller footprint, from 10,000, 12,000 square feet to a smaller footprint, maybe 5,000, 2,500 square feet. So we're in the negotiation stages right now with someone who wants to purchase the office, and then we're going to negotiate to find a new facility. So that's what it is. The board this year, we froze wages, we froze hiring, and the staff rebounded and worked very well with us. So we can't blame a lot of things. We can blame a lot of stuff on the pandemic. The drop in student memberships, it could be a problem. But this is the thing that I think about that. And, there's some of us that are all in education here, and we can see the drop in student membership, and it's dismal. The students that go into the culinarian stage and then into the professional stage, it's a dismal drop. And I think it has a lot to do with the lack of students out there. And we're all having problems recruiting students, and we have a little bit of a problem retaining our students. There's a lot of opportunities out there now for cooks and chefs and anybody in the food service industry, and there's not enough staff to go around. They're saying that 1 out of every 5 positions are being filled now from the restaurants associations. So we all can see that, not only have we lost members because of reasons out of our control, but we've lost them because we don't have the student body, and and it's not going to change. And so, my son teaches in a high school, and I don't think it's going to change until maybe 2025 to 26, and then I think we'll have another influx of folks that want to get into community colleges and being a chef.
Thank you, Chef.
You're welcome.
I do personally have a follow-up question, but I thought perhaps we can go through all of the introductions and then ask some follow-up questions unless anyone has a dying, let me ask this question right away. So let me reserve my question for the end and ask, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask Chef Wright directly here? Michael.
Yes. Mark, you and I have known each other a long time, and you know that I don't pull any punches. So when we turn around and try and say that the pandemic has contributed to a lot of our current issues, I just don't think that's true. I think it's been systemic all along. But the bigger query is the students that we have issue enough with turning them to professional members. What is it that's going to be the catalyst to get them to go from student to professional? I think the accreditation department has done a wonderful job in trying to get reasonable membership fees for them, and even trying to get some level of sponsorship into their first year as a professional member. But what's that nugget that's going to turn them from student to professional member in order to continue our longevity?
Well, my answer would be this. I come from a community college, and we have 32 members that are student members. We took advantage of the situation with the $50 dues. The chapter dropped the dues, so we recruited 32 students. Now it's up to me and up to the chapter and up to the rest of the instructors to push them forward, to mentor them, to make them want to join. So we have to engage them. Competitions are great, getting them involved in certification exams, doing things like that to get them involved. It's the national office, I don't really think they have done the part. They've laid the groundwork. I think it's up to each and every individual that's an ACF member to do that. I think it's my duty, I think it's your duty, and I think it's your chapter's duty, and I think it's our regional vice president's duties. I think we all need to work together to improve this, and that's the only way it's going to get done.
I won't disagree with you, but I will say that the organization has become is not so relevant within the industry, and I think that's a continuing problem. And for that, I see that the national office has to take on some role there on at a marketing level to ensure that there is a product out there for what we're pushing to our core membership. But you are correct that it is incumbent upon the chapter themselves to do an awful lot of that. But I think we want to see, from a chapter's perspective, we want to see more involvement from the national office in getting the word out and creating a demand for the level of certification that we all work very hard for and that we're also very proud of.
Well, I don't know. Should you want an answer?
I don't want to prolong it because I don't want to take a lot of time, but food for thought as the election progresses.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see any. I think we have a strong core of members, and we just need to grow that core. And once we grow that core, I say this all the time. And maybe I watch Field of Dreams too often. If we build it, they will come. I think we've laid the groundwork. And I think our marketing is a little bit need to be desired. I think our social media, our website, and things like that need to be upgraded a little bit more. And I think it's if you feel the want to belong to something, you're going to do it. And I think we need to communicate a little bit better. And I think that's up to us, all the people running for office, is to communicate, not just during these meetings. And I think the communication, ACF communication during this pandemic, let's just say, with these virtual meetings is like unbelievable. I mean, you could spend your whole week on your computer talking to members across the country. And I think that needs to continue. And I think we need to continue this virtual thing. I think we need to know a little bit more about certification. I think we need to know a little bit more accreditation. I think we need to know a little bit more apprenticeship. I don't think we know that enough, and I think that needs to be put out there. And if elected, just to give you an idea, I think that the National Culinary Review should have that. And I really think that we need to have our vice presidents report every so often, and I need the president should report, the treasurer and the secretary, and that all should be done on a monthly basis, or even weekly if we have to. We just need to get the communication out better, and I think once we build it, I think people will come.
See, you answered the question. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And I hope that you do host monthly, if not bi-monthly events. Thank you very much.
Oh, it is my pleasure, Michael.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. Okay, so Chef, if you're able to hang out for any further questions down the road, I appreciate it. But I do know you have those reviews to get to, so I appreciate.
I'm just going to hop on my meeting, and I'll leave yours on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. So next, also running for national president, we have Chef Kimberly Brock Brown with us. Thank you for joining us, Chef.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for hosting.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and if you could, touch on some of the points that we talked about a little bit in the discussion here with Mark, please.
Well, I am a Chef's Apprentice graduate, Dallas, Texas chapter, 1984 graduate, and I understand the differences between an apprentice or a junior or student member going into professional, because I had to make that jump, that leap myself. And not much has changed. Maybe the money part has changed a little bit. I live here in Charleston, South Carolina. I am one of those furloughed chefs. So I'm a chef for hire, and I've been working hard the last couple of weeks. I'm doing my gigs. So I do understand on both sides. I've seen the issues where we're talking about paying chefs more, paying cooks more, treating them better, fairer, rotating weekends, and having them have a quality of life. That who wants to work for $10 an hour and work every night, every weekend, every holiday? So I get a lot. I understand a lot. I've been involved and had my hands literally on it, dealing with that as a corporate chef for the company I work for, and now as a personal private chef too. So my story is I've been on the board. This is my second term as vice president for the Southeast, and I love the fact that you're asking about the communications. It was I who started the monthly communication calls to my region, because I felt like I wasn't getting the information, and I hated that. I mean, I've been an active member for decades, right? It's only been a few years where when I lived somewhere and there wasn't a chapter available to me, that I was not an ACF member. So since '81, when I started my apprenticeship program, I basically have been a member except for maybe 2 years. Like I said, stick and stay and got my pay. I believe ACF is like the best deal going around, culinarians, students. So my focus, I think, is going to be on students, how to grow that membership, how to reach out to them. All about mentoring. It's something that didn't really happen to me officially. I had some great chefs that I worked with as an apprentice, and some at the school when I went to at El Centro. But to have a formal somebody you go to and talk to when you have those issues, those problems, or don't know which way to go in your career path. And also to get them involved and engaged at that age when they're still in school and the light bulb moments are happening. I believe mentoring is the way to go for students. I like to see every chapter, every board of governor person in their chapter be responsible for a junior member or one who just graduated, so that they are included in their chapter activities, they're included in their board meetings, and that our national chapter, junior chapter president has a seat at the table on the board of governors, so that we can continue that liaison between the student and the professional, right? Mentoring goes a long way. Engagement of those students goes a long way, because when you're active and you know people, you're not scared to talk to chefs, because we're also older and stuffy, and you don't want to appear stupid and ignorant in front of them. It goes just a long way to build that gap, to bridge it basically, and keep them engaged and honest. I mean, if we're talking about they're our future, then we need to be engaged in them now. And I can't think of a better way to engage students and help save off our future so we can cheers 90 years, but then by doing it. So to practice what I preach, to mentor. The board of governors should have it, board of directors definitely as the board of governors should have it. And we should just be engaged on a regular basis, and we should be going where those students are. So if it's the social media, if it's the Snapchat, doing little 15-second videos, how to do this. I mean, if you got people from home making videos and putting them on the World Wide Web, Why can't we not, as professionals, do the same thing? You know, this is how we make this. This is how we do that, and put it out there. You know, even if it's like a little contest or a montage of videos, how we do it in the Southeast, Northeast, Central, whatever. This chapter does, you know, who makes the best, you know, be it the clam chowder thing, this versus that, you know, whatever it may be. But just to get the buzz on how to do something and to make it the video. It's the video. They're more visual at this point in time. And I believe that engaging in that, reaching out on all the social medias, more so than what we're doing now. Instagram, specifically on Instagram, and doing the live feeds. You know, if everybody can't do a Zoom live, I'll continue with the Zoom lives. Instagram, Facebook live, doing it live. So I think the way to go is to have your meetings face to face, because I want to touch and hug and talk to people face to face too. But also for those who can't be in our meetings, I mean, I'm in Charleston. I would love to see and have more information about Hershey, Pennsylvania, chocolate, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would love that down here. Or somebody else might love it too. So I think to continue with the Zoom meetings, in addition to your face-to-face meetings, is going to be key. And I think the way to go for moving forward, if elected, is to have not necessarily a monthly, but maybe the bi-monthly might be the way to go as we progress, as our board has now taken our meetings more often than we were when I first got onto the board. It was quarterly. Now it's like once a month. So as things change and things come out, I think that's just the way to go. And if I can succeed in engaging our students, if I can succeed in engaging other different sponsors and vendors, the future takes care of itself. It just keeps growing and growing. I mean, I've already talked to other sponsors. I've already talked to other people who are interested that I'm running. As a woman, as a pastry chef, never had a pastry chef as a president before, believe that. So I'm already talking. I'm already making those connections in their roles. And so it's just a matter of putting it out there then.
Chef, I appreciate, because I feel like a lot of this was directed towards how you plan to lead the Federation in a better position. Specifically, I'd like to follow up on engaging students. Once we have them engaged, how can we give them a bigger voice? How can we make their engagement, their participation worth more than a quarter of a vote or a half a vote?
See, I believe that's got to go. You know, a lot of people I remember the argument years ago where the junior student, we used to be separate, it was the juniors and then it was the professionals, or the seniors as we were called. It was down to money. If they only pay X amount of money, then they should only get X amount of a vote. And I just would take that away. So I believe in needing some bylaw changes and updates. And I believe that's just one of them. If you're going to be a member and have a vote and say so in it. If you get the quarter vote, the half a vote, just give everybody a vote and a voice and let them be engaged.
Thank you, Chef. Does anyone else have a specific follow-up question for Chef before we move on to some other candidates? I see a possible unmute. Okay, we'll go back to Michael.
Okay, Kim, I've known you for quite a while as well, and I always appreciated the support you gave me when I was working for the Navy. But the question remains, how will you leave the Federation in a better position than when you found it? And that really should not be very difficult, because we're just not in the best position right now.
Well, you know, whenever you think you hit bottom, there's always more levels you can go, I do believe. But I do believe selling the building is key. Like I said, it erases the profits made off the sale, will erase that line of credit debt. And so it will then enable us as a federation to do more outreach, to do more programs, to attract. Like I said, be it to social media and updating that website, which is the monster itself. I mean, I have a hard time getting through that website to try to find what I want to find. So it's money, right? And so I do believe that if the office space that we secure, if we could put that kitchen in there that we've always talked about all these decades ago, and start doing videos and start having trainings for the team there, and shoot that, videotape that. We have regional teams, national teams that represent us, and nobody knows about it but us. You know, and so, you know, maybe even doing, besides the teams, maybe even doing, you know, our certification exams. And we just need to be more social and more worldwide known. And I think the media part is key to that. You know, it's not going away. It's just going to do nothing but get bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. And so I do believe that is gone. We're in a smaller footprint with the office. frees up more time to think forward thinking, how you engage and how you do other things instead of having to worry about, okay, we got to pay this bill, and how do we rob Peter to pay Paul, and how do we juggle this and that? When that's gone, and it's basically gone already, we can figure out creative ways to engage people, to keep people engaged, and attract new people. I think that's the key, and I really do believe that when we do that, when we start talking to new people, different sponsors, different organizations, that we will attract, and it just leaves a better footprint than what we have now.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think there's benefit in reaching out to organizations such as the NRA and CAFE and other food service associations such as ours? Is there any net benefit for us? And do you see that as ever happening, since we have managed to upset so many other organizations out there as a federation?
I always see a benefit to talk to somebody who's in relatively the same line of work that we are in. You know, why would we not want to talk to somebody who's teaching and talking about education and culinary education and people who are in the hospitality field? Why we ticked off so many people? I have not decided. I can't answer that question. I just know that, you know, how can we afford to? How can anybody afford to in this day and age build those walls and put up those hands and stop it? Don't talk to me. I don't need you. We need everybody. Everybody needs something. You know, it's not just our federation or association that's hurting. A lot of other people are too. It's not just us. It's a lot of other people. I mean, when I went up 3 years ago, I guess, to the women chefs up in Minneapolis to their national convention, you know, they lost money. I mean, we've been there too. They were expecting, you know, hundreds more, and it didn't happen. So they went into the hole to host their national convention, and they've got star people. You know, we attract different people. We attract, and I would not turn my back on an organization. You know, I've had people from the DOMS approach me. I've had people from this organization approach me. You know, what can we do to get together and build this coalition to make something more than just a food network kind of thing? It's not just about being sexy and cool and cute with the food, but how can we actually build the bridge, teach something, and keep it going? I think certification, I think the knowledge of what we are and who we are, that we are inclusive, sure. You know, I think that's just the way to go. I could not ever turn my back on somebody or organization that is basically in the same neighborhood that we're doing.
Jeff,
Thank you.
a follow-up question came through from one of our board members here. What is the ACF doing for professional members and businesses to really educate them and incent them on hiring employees with certification? So it kind of goes back to that question of getting known what the certification is, adding value to it. I saw something recently that just came out to where there is a program now. If you can, you know, dedicate at least 10 employees that you're signing on to being ACF members. Are you familiar with that program?
I heard about the program. I personally have not had to use it or deal with it because, like I said, I haven't been employed with that in the year. I guess it's been a year now. So, but I know what you're talking about. I think of course, there's information pamphlets, brochures, and our membership has always been looking at ways that we can engage, I think, more on a personal. I mean, like I have one of the corporations here, they have their first 2 corporate chefs who just got CEC. And so in their next quarter, which I think is the end of next month, they're going to become, you know, a national account for us. That's a couple hundred chefs coming into the fold. And I think it's been building those kind of relationships with the different groups like that, that the word gets out. Because each one of those chefs has, you know, let's say they have 5 employees, but those chefs are working at venues, you know, and they're employing students, kids, you know, young people and professionals. And so I think just those kind of groups, you know, the hospital groups, the the prison, we can't shut our faces at fast food. I mean, I remember one of our successful chefs here who graduated from our local program. He went on to become a corporate chef from a local restaurant group. But he did his internship at Taco Bell, and people were laughing because he interned at the Taco Bell, right? But it's the system that he learned, right? He learned their systems, and he went on to become corporate chef. Now he's a corporate chef over 5 different restaurants in our state. And so when you can't just afford to turn our back, be it fast food, white tablecloth, hospital, prison, we have to be inclusive. Anything that's food service, we just can't afford not to. It's just stupid. I mean, it's food. no matter how you serve it, people are eating.
Well, thank you, Chef. I appreciate it. And certainly if there's follow-up questions here, we'll regroup back at the end. But I do want to move on. Thank you again, Chef. Move on to those that are running for treasurer. We have Chef David Ivisoto with us. So thank you, Chef, for joining us. I believe.
I'm here.
Yes, thank you. I don't have the Brady Bunch screen. I have the speaker view. So as soon as you start talking, welcome, Chef.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the question. Michael will get in the chat here to help me out, but I know I had sent that to you ahead of time there as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Chef Autumn and the whole chapter. Feel very welcome by everybody and really appreciate the fact that you all are doing this. A little bit about myself. I've been in the industry for, almost 40 years now. And I've been on the board a decade ago. I'm all about making a difference. I'm all about looking at how we can be. We have to be transparent. We have to find the diversity that exists. Even if you just look at this chapter meeting, there's a great amount of diversity, and that's what our industry is all about. We need to get better engagement with our members. We also need to get better engagement with our industry, and that's really a big part of what we need to look at. The pandemic situation has come up quite a bit, not just tonight, but in other meetings. And Chef Michael said it earlier that we can't blame it on the pandemic. This has been a problem that's been going on for a while, but we have the opportunity to take advantage of the situation that the pandemic has given to us and create some great pivots, like these Zoom meetings. Being able to have meetings and people, joining in from different states and getting to know each other and building that networking, I think is awesome. I'm excited about the opportunities. There's a lot of tough decisions that we're going to have to make. The financial situation is a big one. We need to look at ways we can be proactive about what we're doing. We have to think about how we're going to act and make those actions that are going to make a difference for not just the short term, but for the long term of our organization. We're looking at the income opportunities that we have within the organization. We've got some great revenue generating programs, but we need to enhance them. But we also need to start looking at what other opportunities do we have. And we really need to be working on, and it's been touched on before, we need to be looking at what are those relationships that we can partner with other organizations that are out there that are doing the similar kind of stuff. We need to reach out to them with saying, this is what we want to do for you. We need to be offering something to those other organizations so that they will value us. We need to become relevant to our members, but really ultimately to our industry. Chef Kimberly was pointing out a moment ago about, all these different parts of the industry. 5 million people work in kitchens across the country, and we have 14,000 members. There's obviously a gap there. And there's people who are working in prisons, people who are working in K through 12, people who are working at Chick-fil-A or Panera or Chipotle. What have we done that we haven't been able to get them to be a part of our organization? Part of it is we haven't built the structure for it to be accessible to them. What certification would a prison cook go for? I think we need to look at what we're doing in our prison, what we're doing with our certifications, so that we become accessible to cooks in general. And instead of thinking about certification levels, we should be thinking about certification categories. So that's that's a little bit about me. As I said, I've been in the industry for about 40 years, 14 countries, 5 continents, CIA grad, MBA from College of William and Mary, and I'm super excited. I'm super ready. There's a lot to get done, and I'm ready to make it happen.
Thank you, Chef. And specifically, I'm curious, in one of the initial question here, what does a stronger federation look like to you?
Stronger Federation looks like to me is a broader organization that is not so, I mean, think about the very narrow segments of our industry that we have as members. We have educators, we have country club chefs, we have healthcare chefs, we have, you know, a few restaurant chefs, a few college and university chefs, a few military chefs. But what about all the other? That to me is what makes it a stronger federation, where we start to think ourselves more as a trade organization as opposed to a fraternity. I love going to the national convention. It's like going to summer camp. But we really cannot survive on a $3,000 summer camp experience as we keep getting older and older and older. We need to be looking at it as, how can we bring that cost down? But not only just bring the cost down, broaden it so that it's accessible to the broader industry, that we're offering something to our members and we're offering something to our industry, that we're relevant. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to be really scratching our heads. And that's part of when we reach out to those other organizations and say, what can we do to help you guys out? This is what we want to do to help you guys out. They're going to help us, let us know what they need. And that's going to give us ideas of what we can be doing. But we also need to call up Chick-fil-A and Panera and TGI Fridays and K through 12 and prisons. And we need to be reaching out and saying, what can we do to help you guys? And when we help the industry, when we help the members, the workers in the industry, we will see a broader and a stronger and a healthier federation.
Excellent, thank you. And I think that definitely addresses your question in the chat there as well of, you know, what makes having the ACF certification better than not having one. I think you answered that. We need to build that value. We need to build that demand, and we want organizations, employers to think, I want to support my chef to get that certification.
And we need to really, I mean, we created the certification program, I don't know, many years ago, okay? We really need to do a reevaluation of our certificate. We have 14, 15 different certification levels, okay? I mean, I think we have too many, quite frankly. We need to really reevaluate what our certification looks like so that it's accessible, so that it's doable. I mean, every nurse in the United States is an RN. I mean, done, simple, okay? Now, I'm not saying that it's about a licensure thing, but it's about, you know, the NRA went and did the ServSafe. You don't need to take ServSafe to work in, you know, to have your health certificate. The thing is that most health departments across the country accept the ServSafe certificate as that, because it's become the gold standard. We should have certification categories, not certification levels. We should have certification categories that the industry says, hey, I want to hire somebody who has this category. ServSafe doesn't say anything about that you know how to cook. All it does is it says you know how not to poison people. That's all that ServSafe is. Okay? Well, we need to be the ones that are saying, we provide certification that says these people know how to cook. These people know how to operate inside of a kitchen. And that's what it's got to be categories, not levels.
Thank you, Chef. Appreciate that. And I know you were going to stick around again as there's
absolutely
other questions. We appreciate you joining us. All right, we're going to move on to some other treasurer candidates here. We have Chef Michael Monin.
Before I want to put my email address in the chat box, and if you use the subject, and I'll put that in there as well. If you put the subject line ACF question, then it'll pop up. I have a special folder for that, and I will respond to any questions that you all have if you want to send me an email on the side.
Great, thank you, Chef. Appreciate that. All right, I believe I've already messed it up, so let me give another go at it. Chef Michael Monch. I am saying that correctly. Thank you for joining us tonight, Chef.
Yeah, that's okay. The O is actually silent, so it's Mensch. But that's all right.
Well, now I know.
Many years, so
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. You know, essentially, I'm currently the chair for the Accreditation Commission, where, you know, we have been sort of a profit center the last year for the ACF, where previously we weren't. So I'm very proud of the work there. Most of that's due to just, you know, sound financial principles and really looking at our business and the way that we are operating and challenging what we were doing. And we're still challenging those things. If I had been given, you know, another 3 years, I think we'll continue to keep going, but hopefully we'll leave that commission in great shape and they keep pushing forward, which I think a lot of the departments need to be challenged to do very similar things that we did. I'm currently Dean of Kaiser University's Centers for Culinary Arts. I oversee 3 culinary schools in the state of Florida. And I look forward to hopefully being your next ACF National Treasurer, sorry. So the way I get this understands, you want me to answer the question that was posted, correct?
Yes, if you could please, and I'll go ahead and read it for you. So if elected, how will you not only manage your roles and responsibilities as a treasurer, but also engage the board to address these issues, fostering a team approach to solve these and other pending issues to make a stronger federation?
Sure. So first, I think the roles and responsibilities of treasurer are super important. Somebody has to be the gatekeeper and say no. You know, the frivolous spending without understanding return on investment, things like that. That's what the treasurer is there for. So that role to me is very important. And I've said this a few times, you know, the treasurer is just one of 9 positions on that board. So whoever's elected to any of those positions, you know, must work with the rest of the board in order to, you know, sort of push things forward. To me, pushing things forward looks like essentially working with your members, working with the people that matter, working with your would-be members to figure out what exactly do they want. You know, I hear a lot of chatter between candidates and members and things like that with ideas, but they never have any basis of where they got that information from. Have we talked to anybody in those businesses? Has anybody reached out to certification and challenged them and said, hey, have you talked to Chick-fil-A? Have you done this or whatever? I can tell you right now, if you call John Shop, I'll talk to you because I have. And so he's the chair for the certification commission. You can do that with every department at the ACF. And if you haven't, that's going to be a struggle because, you know, you're not going to be able to turn departments on a dime without having some look at it further back. You know, there's lots of people that spend a lot of money on their certifications. And if we just blow that up, you're going to piss those people off and you might lose those members. So there's a balance here between new, old, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the lies and the truth, you know, or sorry, between his story and their story, the truth lies between, you know, and that's kind of the only way the ACF can operate. You know, it's too old of an organization with too many different members to just quickly blow up everything they have. However, do I think that the ACF needs to broaden? Yeah, I think it does need to broaden. In order to broaden, we need engagement from members. Our biggest problem isn't the fact that we don't have enough members. We don't even have engagement from the members we have. So the reality is, and everybody's from a chapter can agree with this, the reality is that you need engagement from the current members in order to get new members. If, you know, everybody's like, we need to all go out and get members. That's great. Most members aren't even engaged. So how are you going to get a non-engaged member out there to get new members? A little bit of this is you have got to essentially walk the walk, you know, and I challenge everybody. You know, I can tell you right now, the little chapter that I belong to, you know, we got called from membership about a year ago when we were like, hey, how are you guys bringing new members in? You know, and essentially I can tell you how we're bringing new members in. Every single externship site that a student goes to, we go and make a visit. We talk to them about the ACF and we talk to them about the school. Every single student, we push them to stay in. We try to keep them in. We try to push them for certification. But that's a small group of us. It's 5 or 6 people. Every chapter needs that. Chapters have got to help grow the organization. And, you know, I guess to answer your question, and I'll be honest with you, I had a sort of an emergency this weekend, so I really wasn't able to really look at all this stuff that well. But I will tell you from just like reading your question a little while ago before this call started, as far as working with board members, I think that's probably our biggest problem, isn't it? No one wants to work together. And if people want to work together, well, then we're going to see change. Everybody's going to have to work together, because if not, this won't be here for the next generation. And I think educators can see that. And if they don't see it, they're already starting to worry about it. And I worry about it for my students. I have friends in education that worry about it for their students. It was here for me. It was here for a lot of my friends, a lot of my colleagues in the business, and I want it to be here for my students. So that's why I'm getting involved. Primarily why the role of the treasurer for me, because finance is sort of what I do for work. We've been very successful in accreditation. But why do I want to be on the board? Because I need this organization to be able to do what it did for me for my students. Very simple.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chef. For anyone that has questions, I want to hold them to the end here, just because we have just what you just talked about, a great educational presentation on our CHOP that I know we're all anxious to get to as well. So for time's sake, knowing that it's 10 after 8 here, I'd like to hold any other follow-up questions to the end of this section here. But thank you so much, Chef. I appreciate you coming, introducing yourself, and letting us know a little bit about you and why you're running. Thank you. All right, we have one other candidate for treasurer. That would be Chef Linda Mush. If you're still on, I believe you are. If you'd just like to take a few minutes, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about, again, why you're running and what a stronger federation looks like to you, please.
Well, I'm Linda Musk, and I'm up here in Rhode Island. I don't do Zoom calls very well, and you've all heard that before, and I'll say it again. I do, Michael, thank you very much for putting the question out. So it gave me time to think of it, because it's not my strength. It's that easy. I've been with the ACF 30 years. I've held just about all chapter positions. I've stayed active in the chapter, even though I've tried to let new leadership, but sometimes it's hard to let it go. I'd like to thank the Harrisburg chapter for the invite today. And I also want to say we had a wonderful lunch and beer over at Togue the other day on our way back from Virginia. So that's a very large place. And I kind of took, I guess, Michael, you put the questions together. I tried to break it down from my comfort zone. And I really do believe, listening to the other candidates, I do believe the ACF is here to stay. It's how we're going to approach it. Like any organization, we have peaks and valleys. We could think of, scouting. They've hit the Catholic Church. They've hit low, but they're rebuilding. There's still some value to each of those organizations, just like our own. My strongest belief is the local chapter. We need the local chapter is key to the success of the national chapter. But the local chapter needs that guidance. And I really think Joe and the membership committee right now, excuse me, is doing a great job. They're, maybe it's a year too late, 2 years too late, but we're moving forward. Again, the national office needs to pass the information to the chapter president. Chapter president needs to be responsible for getting the information out. And sometimes I think when it hits the chapter level, and maybe Chef Autumn, you have a different chapter. Sometimes they don't want to share that with the membership because they don't want to bore the membership, like too much politics. Okay, and it also works in the reverse. Again, having spent time in the military, it's kind of inbred that chain of command. It starts the top, goes to the regional vice presidents, on down to the chapter presidents, and it goes the other way. I would not, again, think to call the national office and just on certain things. I would probably start with the regional vice president before I call the national office. As far as, again, back to local chapter, if it's strong, so is going to be education, certification, will be recognized. All right. Again, we don't see a lot of industry people in Rhode Island in the chapter. We have a few chefs, they come in, they leave, chapter working chefs or restaurant chefs, a lot of educators, right? We do need to reach out to the industry, and that's everybody's responsibility. Time to start knocking on the doors. I do food safety training. I see a lot of chefs, but a lot of, again, as David was speaking earlier, they're in the different categories. They're your Subway cooks, they're your lunch ladies. I don't think, unless we come up with a new category, we're probably not going to see the lunch ladies because they're just looking at something to supplement their income. So we need to, how do we bring them in? Okay, I'll work closely with the board of directors. I said that in my info statement there. And I believe I'm a team player, just not a real good public speaker. And I stop and I listen before I speak. You know, and then when I speak, watch out. Okay, many of the questions that have been many of these questions have been a hot topic on the chef's table. I think that's a great membership tool. I'm not sure if it's not something I'm totally keen on, but there's reasons for it. Okay, and again, our current board is working hard to correct the mistakes of the past, and we need to give them credit for that. And it seems like people are beating everybody up. So again, fostering a team approach, again, is giving and taking, listening and giving and taking. Okay, those who know me know I'm honest and caring. And when I make a commitment to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure if I take on the role as treasurer, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can. And then what does a strong federation look like to me? A group of professionals working together for a common goal, right? Networking, education, certification, again, being financially sound and enjoying a good meal together, all right? Not this ongoing dialogue that we've seen on Chef's Table. That's not fostering a good or a strong federation. And one of the other themes we've seen, and I think Chef Marcus made a comment again, the words of JFK, not what our country can do for us, but what we can do for our country. Okay, let's switch out country to federation and let's make us the best federation. And that's what the next board of directors is going to set their goals on. Okay, again, I've definitely been humbled from this experience running for office, from realizing my lack of public speaking skills and the unspoken responsibilities of national treasurer. If elected, I'll serve the Federation with my full commitment and even work on my Zoom presentations. So again, thanks for this opportunity. And again, I really will work on my public speaking. And I hope you count the vote.
Thank you, Chef. I appreciate it. And it gets easier the more and more you do it, trust me.
I know. Well, part of it, you know, I've been out of the education for 40 years, so that public speaking is kind of gone away. It's different teaching a few, you know, classroom full of food safety people that don't want to be there.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. All right, we have two more guests tonight that are running for vice president positions, running unopposed for the Central region. We have Chef Rajiv, I believe, is still with us. Yes. Good evening, Chef. And I posed the question to the vice presidents. We have a lot of meetings tonight. There are several different meetings going on at the same time. There are so many different things going on within our individual chapters. How can we bring that, engage everyone together? Perhaps a national meeting every month that has the education and different components. And I'd like, if you could, to address that, please.
Sure.
And thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me, even though I'm a neighboring state's representative to be. And great question. What we are doing currently, benefit of pandemic, like Zoom calls, meetings, different outlets to use. I think ACF is started as a forum form, but hopefully they can use that and maybe collaborate with different chapters and regions and do one grand scale, I shouldn't say grand scale, but one meeting, different topics, see what are the trends or members are looking for, and maybe slowly get into that. That will be more appropriate, and hopefully all generations, experts and all with current trends, we can include that. Not only that, I like the way you guys did here. A little bit, I'm sorry I was late, like chopped or competition like that. They can do on a monthly or quarterly level, regionally, and they can manage virtually in intra-regional, you know, and they can do that something, the possibilities are there, but as everyone said before me, as you all chapter leaders know, local level, because we've been there, done that, those who are doing it, they keep doing it. Those who are watching it, they're watching it. We want both. We want watchers, doers, and hands-on members. So then it will be more and more better for each. And I appreciate your chapter has been very active, not just regionally, locally, but nationally. I commend you guys for your questions and thoughtful questions and persistent. I appreciate that. As a not only vice president candidate, but as a chef member, ACF member, and I've been to Northeast region, more travel to Northeast region for educational seminars and all that than even my own region. So it's a near to me. And what we can do is together, nobody can stop us to be successful, but we have to have hands together, sharing hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Appreciate you joining us. And we also have Chef Jay-Z that was joining us. I know that had a really good message to share kind of as we're concluding this section. Are you still with us, Chef?
I am still with you. And happy holidays. I'm just kidding. I am, you know, you asked me to come on here and be real and be honest and open and give a face to the name. This is Jay-Z, Chef Jay-Z though, not the rapper guy. I've been in the industry for 30 years. I'm a Johnson & Wales grad. There's my hat from when I graduated in 2001. I still have it. I have worked all over the place. I've worked in hotels and bagel shops, and I grew up in New York, and I was in delis and supermarkets, and I've been around a lot of places. I lived in Minnesota, I lived in Charlotte, I lived a little bit in Jersey, I lived in Rhode Island, and I lived on Long Island. So I've gotten around, I've seen stuff. I enjoy the industry very, very much. I've been a member for the ACF for 16 years. And I'm going to be honest, when I was at JWU, didn't know what ACF was. No clue. No one ever said anything to me. No one ever approached me about it. So I had no clue back in 1997 when I went. It wasn't said anything to me. So there's a first thing we need to look at. And we need to be positive about what we're looking at for the future. So what I did was I got involved and I started looking at different things and moving around. I agree with a lot of the candidates tonight. Communication has been a downfall. Yes, communication is good now, but I think communication has been not very positive for everybody. Let me gather my thoughts here. So I wrote a lot of notes down while I was thinking. You need to communicate. We need to make sure we know what's going on. I love that I'm on this meetup tonight, or meeting. Sorry, we call our meetings meetups. We had to change the name, so we tried to find something exciting. So we meet up now. And so if I say meetup, it's a meeting. But we have to change our philosophy on what we're doing. We have to look at what we have. And I have to be able to work with all the regionals, from Chef Rajiv to Chef Young up there in the Northeast to Chef Machette, if I said his name correctly, out in the West. I need to communicate with that. One of the candidates made a comment about engagement, and then none of us communicating. So I don't think we're communicating. So I want to communicate and I want to bring energy. That is the main thing that I'm looking at when I get into my role. If I get into the role, I am going against someone down here in the Southeast. But again, just because I'm in the Southeast doesn't mean that you can't influence any voting. I really want people all around, because I have to work with everyone. When we get in the position, I have to work with the president, the treasurer, and the VPs throughout the country. And we have to work together to come together and communicate to our members and communicate everything that we need to do and change. Yes, we need to grow student involvement. Yes, we need to make sure our professional members are rewarded still. Because like I said, I've been a member 17 years. What do I get out of it? Why am I still a member? Yes, I'm a certified executive chef. Do I want to go for a certified master chef? No, I don't. But there are people that do. So we have to tap into why and explain to people why the ACF is important. I think that we don't do that collectively. There's a few of us that are great people that talk about it constantly, and there are a few people that don't even have it on their resume. I saw a resume the other day that I was looking at, and the guy's an ACF member, and I was like, why is an ACF on there? He goes, I don't need to. It's like, holy cow, yes, you do. You're an ACF member. Do you realize what the networking opportunities are throughout the country? When I travel for my job, because I'm blessed to do that, I look up the local chapter wherever I go, and I try to connect. If I'm there, I'm going to attend their meetings. I'm going to attend something. I'm going to reach out to people across the country and communicate. I just got off the phone with the Seattle president of the ACF Seattle, and I'm going to try to do a presentation for his chapter. I think webinars are really important. I think online is extremely important and how we communicate things, and we have to grow that. And it's probably going to change in the next couple of months. It's going to go to something else. But right now, we're in the moment where we need to communicate as much as we can to all our members and work together. So relevant certification I wrote down, because I wrote that, I wanted to make it, people don't know what CEC is. Some people don't know what ACF is. So we have to bring back that first. Bring back, what is the ACF? What is the American Culinary Federation? What does it do? I talk to students all the time. They have no clue. I don't know what that is. And I have chef members that are instructors, and I want to know why they're not voicing that. Nothing against them, but it's just ACF's kind of gotten a little flat, and we need to bring it back up. We need to show why we're members, and we need to do that all together. I love the fact that one of the candidates mentioned it's not only our job as a board, or will be my job as a board, hopefully, but it's our job as chapters to really show the message to people. When you go into a restaurant, I always say that I'm an executive chef, or I'm a corporate chef. I'm here, I'm having dinner, or I'm a chef. And I always ask if the restaurant manager or if the restaurant chef is a member of the ACF. And if they say no, if I can meet them later on, I try to go find them and meet them. And you need to just spread the word on what we are and what we do. And a lot of people don't understand that. So we need to figure out right programs maybe of how to help chapters get out there. Some chapters have no clue. They're like, I don't know, what do I do? How do I get into a school? Well, first of all, you set up an appointment, you go walk in and you say, hey, I'm Chef Jay-Z, I'm with the ACF. Can I come talk to your students? And if they say, what is ACF? That's your door. There's your window, there's your foot in. You can go and you can really teach what everything is. Working together was the last note I made. We need to work together from chapter to chapter. Where chapters supporting chapters is something we started down here with the Indianapolis chapter, not even in the Southeast. They're actually in the Midwest. But we got together and we started supporting each other. One of the questions was, I believe the question was, how do you make it exciting or this meeting was happening, and how do you do all the different meetings that are going on? Well, you know what? If you got a good meeting, people are going to come to it. I don't want to say everybody gets a trophy. We all have to have meetings at certain times, but think about it. If I got a kick butt meeting and you're going to want to come to it, that's your choice then. Why are you going to go to it? So I think it gives your chapter variety and it lets you stand out when you can. I think the chapters that are strong, like Atlanta is very strong, Charlotte's very strong. There's a lot of strong chapters up in the Northeast. Your chapter's strong. Those chapters need to help the smaller chapters. Give your ideas to them. Share your ideas. Communicate your ideas. And it all starts with leadership. So like KBB's doing, Chef Kimberly Brock-Brown's doing in the Southeast, she's communicating with us. We communicate together, and that's how we share our stuff with all the chapters in the Southeast. And I want to continue doing that. So I've got a lot of passion. I was a little thrown off in the beginning because I did not see all the questions. And I wanted to answer some questions, but I really do feel that making a difference, that's what I'm good at. Bringing the excitement of ACF back is really what I'm good at. And we have to look at fresh faces and fresh new people. And that's kind of why I'm here. I've never run for a position before. I was the chapter president here in Charlotte. I'm now chairman of the board. I'm done. Now I want to focus on the next step in my personal career. I think it's running the Southeast and owning the Southeast, making it part of my family, and then growing it to be part of the entire country. And that will bring in money. And then we will have that working together in synergy ACF needs. That's my opinion. There it is. I'm ready to do it. So vote for Jay-Z in 2023 for Southeast VP. But thank you for your time, and thanks. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you joining, and thank you to all the candidates that have joined us. I very much appreciate it. I noticed in the chat there is some conversation going. I'm going to say continue that in the chat. If you guys want to ask questions, if you want to bounce back and forth. I do want to get to our chopped competition. I should have said we're staying up past our bedtimes tonight. I know there's a lot of more exciting things that we want to still include tonight yet. So feel free to continue the conversation in the chat. I thank you all again for joining us. Look for that email to come out, just updated today, May 1st. Again, it'll say ACF official election ballot, and I'll also be sending an email to get us there as well. Okay, so let me jump back through the meeting then. And again, thank you all. Chef Long, do you want to, and I'm not asking you to paraphrase too much, but can you touch base a little bit on the meeting structure survey that we had?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. First, I want to say tonight, I thought the presentation for Hershey was outstanding. It's just a rock star facility. It was awesome to see that. It's really, really exciting. That's going to be in our area. So we sent out our second survey, which was about our meeting structure. And our first survey was about education. And one of the things we had about our education was a Zoom video and we actually saw that in place tonight. So that was a great example of listening to what the members are saying. But our second survey is about the structure of our meetings. And we wanted to touch on some of the new things that we're doing, like the chop challenge, the member spotlight, and the starting time of our meetings. And for the most part, I'm not sure if we hit our 24 mark. So nobody gets the second prize.
Did everyone hear that? 24 people did not respond. 24. And just so you know, for future reference, it's open. You can respond 24 times and be the 24th person. Just as a heads up for future. So no, so not the 24th. So
We did not hit the 24th.
Okay, Donald Barch actually was our winner, but
yeah, Donald Barch was our winner. He actually got a copy of the Chef's Apprentice cookbook, and he sent me a nice email a couple days ago about how much he liked it.
Awesome.
So, but I do want to say the membership survey, the starting time seemed to be, the 6:30 starting time seemed to be the popular vote. Everybody seemed to think it was and this is probably not a good night to say this, but probably the biggest point of contention was the length of the meetings, to try to keep them to an hour and a half. And I know tonight's a special meeting, so we have some extenuating circumstances, but I think that's was the two big points that came out of it. But the chop challenge is very popular. The member spotlight is very popular. Try to keep it to one. But all in all, very good feedback. And we'll do another survey down the road. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Chef. And speaking of that chopped competition, so Rashida, our student representative on the board, this was your concept. Why don't you take it from here and explain? We've got some new members on joining us. So explain what this concept is, and we'll roll right into our chefs. Now, I don't see Chef Arnold here with us tonight, but we'll continue on and we'll make sure to post his information then as well. Rashida.
Patty Under.
Oh, I see you. I see you. He's here. I just want to say he was here. Okay, Rashida, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. The chopped Harrisburg ACF style, it's more of a way for to see how other chefs would use ingredients. We've taken 4 ingredients and we asked them to make a dish. It doesn't have to just be it could be dessert. It could be an entree. Anything that you can conceptualize and think of and be creative and show us what you would do with these ingredients. You may add ingredients, but it was just neat to take the concept from the original Chop Challenge that's on TV and see what people can do. Because again, with us not being able to be face to face, we don't get our meal. But this was a way I thought that we could come together still with food and see what people are doing at home, what they already have in their pantry, why they use certain ingredients. So that is what the whole Chop Challenge is basically about. And for each challenge, we ask for volunteers. So it's not something that we're just picking people. We do ask for volunteers. And again, we do ask that you supply your own ingredients and share with us how you conceptualize it, why you thought of the dish, and just have fun with it. That's the main thing, to have fun and be creative, because a lot of people aren't able to do it. And I mean, I like to be creative, but lately I haven't been as creative. I mean, I cook for my children every day, but it's not the same as being in a kitchen and cooking for others all the time.
She's setting the stage well, because this month she took on the challenge herself. Ingredients out there and thought, maybe I should make sure that this goes. So Rashida, this is a picture of your mise en place, right? So what were the 4 ingredients this month? Let's start with that.
The 4 ingredients this month was salmon, coconut milk, sweet potato, and honey.
Okay, now what, coconut milk or just coconut? Was it specifically coconut milk?
It was coconut milk.
Okay, all right.
But I used coconut as well.
Are you okay for me to reveal?
Yes, you can reveal.
All right. And here's your finished dish. I'm going to back up a little bit so that you can see us. Tell me what you made.
So what I made was a pecan and coconut crusted salmon with a honey mustard like underneath it, so that, you know, it had something to adhere to. And then I also made a sweet potato curry with the coconut milk. It was different. Again, it was outside the box for me, and, you know, considering I have small children, but they do like to eat different foods. And lately we've been on an Indian kick. So that's one reason why I did come up with the curry, and I actually used the red chili paste, and surprisingly, my children actually liked the dish, which I was happy with. Chef Patty was gracious enough to give me 3 slices of salmon, and I actually used all 3, and they completely devoured it. So I had to take my pictures quickly because they really enjoyed it. And I did have fun with this. It was different, and I used the pecans and the coconut so that it had a little bit of texture. I just didn't want it to be too, you know, a smushy on top of smushy type dish. But I did have fun. I was impressed. It turned out better than I thought, considering the people I was cooking it for.
I think it looks awesome. Absolutely. And there's a lot of good comments in there for you too. Who would you like to move to next? I will get myself set up. So we also have Chef Arnold, Chef Smith, and then Chef Peffley. Who would you like to move on to next?
I would like to move on to Chef Arnold next.
Okay. And Chef, I do have pictures here for you. If you want to walk us through, I'll go ahead. I want to make sure I don't reveal anything too soon.
Well, I'm definitely here. No, the fact that I'm here, that might even be too soon. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Hello, everybody.
Right.
So certainly a great challenge to work with salmon, coconut milk, honey, and sweet potato. And when I saw the ingredients, I kind of put my head down. It really took me a couple weeks to kind of think of what I would like to do with it. But go ahead and let it roll.
I think I'm there. Okay. Here's your first picture. Are you looking for me to just click through, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah. So
some of the ingredients.
We actually had a couple different types of sweet potatoes. So I used some Okinawa sweet potatoes. So just chopping those puppies open. You can go to the next one. And well, it looks like the photos might not be in order. So what I did is I did
say they are not. So if you tell me
okay.
If you want to see, I think
no problem.
This one first.
Okay, so I actually made it like a turmeric honey tuile, just with this and some grapeseed oil, salt, with an immersion blender. And then there you have it with the immersion blender, the truffle honey, and the next picture you should see is what I came up with, which then garnished the dish. And then the next one, of course, was we did an Okinawa sweet potato puree. We made like a cream spinach with coconut in it. So very similar to, I was trying to figure out how I would serve this in maybe the circular restaurant. So a lot of the same great ingredients, garlic, but about half coconut cream and half heavy cream. And
okay, so
there we go. Yeah, and so we actually took some a little bit of rendered prosciutto fat, and I just pan roasted the salmon with it, plate set on top of the plate, and then I'm sure that the tuile's coming up. We also did some regular sweet potatoes, and that's where the tuile came in, is that little coral honey turmeric tuile, and that was it.
Very nice. Very nice, Chef. Thank you. I apologize. I spent about 20 way too long minutes trying to get that in order, and that was the best to come up with. But I did.
Oh, you did awesome. No, thank you.
Thank you. That looks great. I appreciate it. And again, I'm sure comments are coming through in the chat. Awesome. Anna, who would you, or well, Anna, Rashida, who would you like to go to next? I think
we can move to Anna next.
I know. It is 8:40. Let's keep in mind. It's been a long day. Okay. So Anna put together a slideshow, and I think this is important to keep in mind. Future volunteers meeting within the next, 10 to 15 minutes. You do what you want with it. You take a picture, you come back and you can explain it. You can put a PowerPoint, or you can make an instructional video demonstration, whatever you might want to come up with. Okay. So Anna, walk us through what you got here. You are muted still. I had to find you. Oh, there you go. Oh, I just muted you. Oh, I was trying to help. There you go.
You hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so ingredients were salmon, honey, coconut milk, and sweet potato, which when I saw the ingredients, I really liked. I think they all go really well together. So, so the dish I made was a honey sriracha glazed, it was smoked salmon, not just salmon, sweet potato gnocchi, broccolini, and an orange coconut cream sauce. For the gnocchi, I kept it very simple. It was just sweet potato, flour, salt, and then I put some nutmeg and some paprika in it. And just pictures of me making the dough. I just blanched it and sauteed them.
Those look so vibrant colored too.
Yeah, they were really good. I ate them the next day with another meal too.
All right.
And then the glaze, it was just simple sriracha and honey. And then if you look, the honey was from the governor's mansion.
I did notice that.
The local honey.
All right, and then you had a sauce?
Yes, I did an orange coconut cream sauce, and it was just coconut milk, heavy cream, some orange zest, and orange juice, salt, and then I did throw some butter in there. Kind of a blanc without the wine, kind of what I went through for. And then to smoke the salmon, I just seared it. I put glaze on it, and then I smoked it with my handy little smoker for about 10-15 minutes, just to get that smoke flavor. I used apple wood. And then I just blanched and sauteed the broccolini.
Right. Is the next review?
The picture's not the greatest. I'm not that great at plating, but it was.
I'll be honest, you're a little close up, but that's what
I do like doing.
We wanted to see the picture, but here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
I still think it looks great.
I tried to get it to where you could see the flakes of the zest, but my life was great.
If anything, your gnocchi kind of got hidden a little bit there with the color.
Yeah.
Salmon, but otherwise, yeah. No, and talk about a totally different spin. And I think that's what we like, is to see the same ingredient being put in many different ways. Definitely. That looks awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And again, I'm sure in the chat there are plenty coming through to give you the accolades there. I appreciate it, definitely. Rashida, we have one more, right? We have one more chef that took on the challenge.
Yes, we have one person left, Chef Peffley, which he took this challenge and he really ran with it this time. I appreciate the time and the effort that everyone has put in, but he actually did a whole video for us, so that's why we saved him for last.
So the sound should be working. Again, I realize that this is taking us late into the meeting and we still have a few more items we want to touch on, but what our chapter is all about, education, and the idea that they took on and really not only explained verbally, but showed you what they're doing. So enjoy.
I am Chef Brian Peffley, and I'm with Robert Coral. We're the culinary and pastry art instructor here at the Lebanon County Career and Tech Center. I've been thrown under the bus by Chef Arnold, so we are going to go ahead and do our chop challenge. The 4 ingredients that we were given was salmon, we were given sweet potatoes, honey, and coconut milk. So we got 3 sweets and a fish. So we're going to go ahead and show you how we utilize each one of these items to the best of its ability. And we're first going to start off with a salad that utilizes the honey and the sweet potatoes. And Chef Coral's gonna do that. So we're gonna hand off the camera and Chef Coral's gonna take it from here.
Okay, so I have to give homage to my mother-in-law for this salad. This is a salad that she had done for us many years ago, and I took the recipe from her because I liked it so much. And oddly enough, it is a honey-based dressing for this, so this is what we're gonna do, okay? So I guess we need to go turn off this fish, Chef.
Okay, I'm gonna go take and follow Chef as he goes to that. And I'm gonna go over here because I already have some of our salmon going here, which is our next dish. And that's what our final product is gonna be. So we're gonna leave that in there so it stays warm. And then we're gonna head back here to Chef Coral.
So it's real simple. The dressing is sugars, cider vinegar, honey, fresh lemon juice, paprika, ground mustard, grated onion, celery seed, salt, and vegetable oil. So what you really want to do first is take the first 9 ingredients, and these recipes are all going to be given to Autumn to put up on a PDF so everybody can have them. Take the first 9 ingredients, mix them together, microwave it a little bit, okay, just so we can dissolve that sugar, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to whisk in your oil. Okay, so then what you're going to have is this thick, tangy dressing that you see right here. Then, okay, that's after it sits. It'll get congealed like that. Okay, so this salad consists of baby greens or spring mix, mandarin oranges, bacon, strawberries, toasted almonds, and this is not normally what we put on this salad, but we know that this is a great item to give you a little more extra crunch in your salad. So all this is a spiral cut sweet potato that's been fried at about 300 degrees, little salt, and that's it. Okay, so in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put about half of the fruit in here because we want to garnish it up when we're all said and done here. So we're going to take some of the fruit, put it in here. Take a little bit of our bacon, put it in here, a little bit of our almonds, like so. And then at this point, we're gonna go ahead and take the dressing and swirl it on here. Now, just like with any dressing, you don't want to dress this salad until you're about ready to do that. And then, because it will wilt it gets heavy on it, okay? So we're gonna mix this around. This all mixed around, and before I get it too far, I give it a little shot of pepper and a little bit of kosher salt there, okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll mix this up then. And just try to get a nice coating on the leaves. This is great to set this up ahead of time, you know, and then I would dress it right as I go out and let people dig into it. And we've run it here for our advisory committee and everything like that. And people, I've given this recipe away to I don't know how many people now. But so we're gonna mount some of this on here, like so. Okay, to give yourself a nice portion. All right, and if you want, you can put a little bit more bacon on the top of it. Everybody likes bacon, right? Okay, maybe 1 or 2 more strawberries just to highlight the color of it a little bit, because you know how it is when you do something like this, it all slides down to the bottom. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of our fried sweet potatoes and mount that right here onto the top of the salad like that, okay? So this would be your berry mandarin salad with your sweet potato crisps on top of it.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, so we utilized in there our honey and our sweet potato, all right? And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go on to our main entree. And our main entree, we kind of went back to our old roots, and I'm gonna pass that off to Chef. And we went back to our apprentice days, and what we did was we looked at some of the things that we utilized in the past, and one of the things was kulibiak, which is a fish enrobed in dough. It's like a beef Wellington, but it's Russian. It's a Russian-backed dish, and it's usually done with brioche. So we made brioche dough. The recipe is in our packet for Chef. So I have this chilled. I made that this morning, so it's nice and cold. So the first thing I need to do is I need to take this dough, and I'm going to go ahead and dust my table here, and I'm going to roll this out. So what this is going to use up is I'm going to be able to use in this recipe, obviously my salmon that I needed to use in my secret ingredients. And then I'm also going to be using my,
what's the other one? Oh, the coconut milk. Yeah, the
and
coconut
we'll show you
milk.
that here in a second.
Yeah, in fact, while I'm rolling this, chef, if you don't
I'll
mind
do that.
taking the,
All right,
the
so-
court bouillon.
So over here is our court bouillon, okay? It's not your typical court bouillon. As you can see here in the recipe, water, white wine, coconut milk, okay? So what we did here is we substituted out some of the water and used coconut milk instead. Got some carrot slice in there, minced onion, parsley stems, thyme leaves, and some peppercorns. So obviously our poaching temperature here, anywhere from 160 to 180, okay, in that range. What we did is then we took the salmon fillet, all right, as you can see here, and took it and put it in there until it is almost done. It's still a little bit pink in the center, okay, like that, but it is infused a wonderful flavor here. Chef and I were commenting earlier
It smells
how
great.
well this smells. I wasn't quite sure how that would go with the coconut milk, but we thought we'd give it a shot, but that little bit of sweetness of that coconut now is infused into
So we
that
have our salmon
fillet.
here, and always classically with Kulibiak is egg. So we have some sliced egg. We're going to put these down first, and we're actually building this upside down. So this is actually the top. So the egg is going to be on the top. So we're going to line these up. So this is just a hard-boiled egg. Let's really get my gloves to not stick. And then we're going to go ahead and lay these out. These will be laid out across the top. Then the next thing I have here is we took some wild rice and mushrooms. We made it like a duxelle, a force, to go on the bottom here, which will actually be my top. So I'm going to press this down.
So this is a mixture of wild rice and white rice, and we did put shallots in there with it as well. Sometimes people within this mixture, instead of slicing the eggs like we did, they'll just chop it up and put it right in that mix.
And
But I
same
think,
with the salmon too.
yeah, I think it's a better presentation.
Yeah, I think it'll look much prettier when we go to present it. So I'm going to take the salmon, I'm going to flip it upside down, okay? Then I'm going to take some of this farce, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it in my hand, and I'm going to pack it in my hand and make a long cylinder of this. And I've learned this from doing it the second time, because if I push too hard on this salmon fillet, it'll just break apart, and I don't want it to break. I want to try to keep it intact. So from this point, I have some excess dough, so I'm going to cut off my corners. So if you've ever done Wellington, you always want to make sure that you don't have too much dough in there, because it becomes kind of gummy, and it's very hard to bake that all out. So we're going to put that off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and take my egg wash, and I'm just going to lightly egg wash. This is my glue, all right? This is going to hold it all together for me, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ends. I'm going to take my ends, pull that up and over, tuck that in, pull this end up and over, tuck that in. Now I'm a little long on this side, so I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to pull this up and over, like so. I'm going to crimp that underneath, make sure I have that nice and tight. And I'm going to repeat the same process on this side. Roll that up and over. Now I have a little bit of excess dough. And what's nice is if you have some shears, you can just come in here and cut that excess off, because I don't want to have a big glob of dough on the bottom. Then from here, like I said, it's upside down. So we're going to take it and we're going to roll it onto my hand like so, onto the parchment paper. All right, and then I'm going to take it, make sure that I'm completely sealed all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and take my egg wash, and I'm going to brush this with some egg wash. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to show you by just taking your scissors, we're going to come in here and make little shells. It looks like scales on a fish. So we're just going to go ahead and do that all the way across. And chef, if you don't mind, if you want to go over to the oven, and I'll keep working on this.
We'll look at the one we have here in the oven, okay? And you can see there what it looks like. Had to grab a mitt, sorry. And as you can see here now, look at that coloring there on the fish, okay? And chef did a wonderful job. He did a little deco on the top of it, if I can get a hold of it here. Right. Yeah. So
this is where it gets a little time consuming, because you're snipping all the way across. All right. So
So you would do all the way across like I did there on that one. And then this is the little fish that I just hand cut out. And then that little guy goes on the top.
Yeah.
Once you finish doing out the
And they
scales.
wash it. Now you notice how these little points, chefs making those little points, how they brown and go a little darker here with that. Now if I touch this outside of the Kubiak is very firm, okay? So this one, you're supposed to let them sit for like 15 minutes. So that's kind of like why we had this one sitting here. And then we're gonna go ahead and put it in the other one in the oven. But you should let them sit just like you're doing meat or something. Let it rest a little bit, let it finish out, cooking in there. Everything's getting hot and steamy and good in there. All those flavors now are getting married together with the rice and the shallots and the mushrooms in here, and then the essence from the court bouillon is doing the same thing. So once you have that together, put your garnish on it like that.
And we bake it in the oven. It takes about 30 minutes at 325. We lowered the temperature because we noticed that the spines were getting a little bit sharp and too dark, and we want to make sure we had a nice even color. So that's where we end up. Egg wash the base, did not egg wash the fish, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my last element on this then, and I'm going to brush it with the honey. So I'll have in here my salmon and my honey. All right, and that's how I utilize that. So I didn't use any of the sweet potato in this item here, but I did use the coconut milk in the fumet that we poached the salmon in. So to finish out all of this, of course, as a pastry chef, gotta have dessert. So we're gonna walk over here and I'm gonna show you what we did with dessert. So I love Southern traditional desserts. Everybody knows that I'm not a deconstructive kind of guy. If I want to put my dessert together, I'll have my pastry chef do it. So Cher and I always laugh about that because I am not a deconstructive. I'm a classic French taught pastry person. So what I have here is a sweet potato pecan pie. I did a short dough crust, and then I did a basic sweet potato, pecan pie, and then I incorporated sweet potatoes into the filling, and then put the pecans in, poured the filling over top. Obviously pecans float, and then you get this nice glaze. I took some honey, glazed the top off, and then on here I used some coconut milk. So I have everything but the salmon in my dessert. I have the sweet potato.
I'm thanking Chef for doing that.
Yeah, we don't want any salmon in our pecan pie. So I have the sweet potato in here, and then we took the spiral fries, but these are actually with cinnamon sugar on, and then I have the coconut milk infused in the whipped cream. So you have the 3 of the 4 ingredients in the sweet potato pie. Also, to let you know, I did it in flan form. This is a deeper dish flan. And that's what I have plated here, and then you can also do a lower flan here. Either or works. I like the deeper because I do like that gooey caramel. So in closing, as you saw us put it all together, at the end of this video we will do some still shots and have you some nice close-ups that you can see the Kubiak that we actually have cut open, and you can see what it looks like inside. So I hope you enjoy our presentation. It was an honor to serve you.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I think that was pretty awesome. And students have been asking for a demonstration, to see something live, to see how things are being plated, conceptualized. So I think that was a great extra component there. Again, not required, but definitely going above and beyond. And Chef Peffley, Chef Cook, that was excellent. Thank you.
Well, we're honored to be able to do this for you guys. And I'm sorry it's so late, but I do appreciate everybody staying on.
Absolutely. So that leads us to, we need some volunteers for May. I know, Rashida, I'm stealing your thunder by asking, but I'm rolling with it. We're looking for a couple volunteers for May. Anyone interested?
David. Mensch.
Anyone?
Are they even on? Did they stay
Yes,
on?
I'm on.
Well, speak up, David.
Sure, I'll do it.
Oh,
why not?
how kind of you.
That would be awesome.
How could I say no?
How could you say no to this?
Hey,
What's the
I would
challenge?
like to shout out, since Cher was on and I was on, I would like to shout out to Susan Nodder, who's on the line. Susan?
She's waving. Does that mean you're in, Susan?
It depends what ingredients you give me.
You don't get to know, Susan.
No, Susan.
You can
And-
recruit a teammate, Susan. That was shown.
I'm by myself. I'm in the
Come
dark
on, you can
with
cover it with
Mama.
Felton. Felton makes everything. They can cover with Felton.
Okay, I'm in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you. And Chef Michael, I saw you did a mute. I know Michael called you all out on it, but did you also want to volunteer by?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Absolutely.
He thinks he's going up against me, but I've shamed him into doing it regardless.
I really just want an opportunity to make Harris look bad. So, anytime,
You already did it, Mensch. You're good.
Well, and let's keep in mind that even though there's volunteers here, we can all participate. We can all show and share what we come up with as well. So maybe next time we get these mystery ingredients out like a week ahead of time, and that way, if anyone else wants to bring to the table what they created too. Awesome.
That would be great.
3 is a comfortable max, though. I think we just saw that. So thank you all for volunteering. I appreciate it. That'll be exciting here for next month. And to continue this, as long as we're on Zoom, it's open to your creativity. I think when we're in person, this is going to shift a little bit, but this is something that I think we can all benefit from.
Nothing like outsourcing that objective.
Right. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all. That was definitely very exciting. To again be to the point and knowing that it is 9 o'clock, there's a few more items I want to cover, but I would like to table our new website and just letting you know that the new website is live. Please check it out. And I'm going to ask Renee to give us a full tour in our May meeting. That way we can all get an opportunity to check on it. Real quick though, Renee, what was the winning photo?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should leave that until next time. I think people should pull up the website and see if you can guess what the winning photo might be.
Okay, she did
And
select.
then I'll let you know next month.
Awesome, great. Thank you. And please do check it out. I know I included that in an email. It looks awesome, and I had absolutely nothing to do with it. So saying that it looks awesome, all the credit goes to Renee. Skills well beyond anything I could hope to have. So great job. Thank you for all the dedication. Thank you for backing up all the extra material. I know that was a concern of everyone's to make sure that we have anything that's not front and center on that page. So I appreciate that. And again, work in progress. So please, very professionally, respectfully, ask for your edits, from Renee, and she'll be looking for those, definitely. Okay, I have also, moving on to education. Anna, what do you have in store for May for us?
May, we're going to be taking a virtual tour of a distillery. I got in touch with Crestwater. I think that's how it's pronounced. CROST water. And I'm set to do a tour in 2 weeks, and I'll film it. And so.
Did you reach out to John Gross at all?
I talked to our distributor and just the other day, and she told me to just go in there and talk to them, and hopefully I can do a tour right then.
If we could, so Michael has very strong connections, of course, as well as do I. If we could set that stage and introduce you to someone and set up that connection, please, Michael. I see you were jumping in there anyways. Everyone knows John Gross and Company opened a new marketplace. I want to make sure all of our members know about it, and certainly being a partner of ours, we want to make sure that we get it front and center for you as well. So Michael, if you don't mind doing a good intro for Anna so that she can make that connect right away, that would be awesome.
Yep. Anna, when you're ready to go over there, I'll make a phone call, or I'll meet you there and introduce you to the right people. And a quick shout out to Chaz for being the first one to post about John Gross's new marketplace.
Yes, thank you. And then in June, look for an email, super exciting, to segue into that, our first in-person meeting in over a year. And when I say an in-person meeting, grab your own food and come and gather in a spot and say hi. I do not plan education. I am not planning any form of meeting other than let's have fun and let's catch up and see each other live in person outside of our little boxes right here. So look for that. Do you set that up? Thank you so much. As of right now, we're looking at intermediate family, you and a spouse. He's looking into under 18 if kids can come as well. We are not going to include food this time. There's a lot more regulations with that, but we have a pavilion for us to bring our own food and meet and still gather. So we'll plan about a 5 o'clock time. Again, there'll be more communication because we want to make sure everything is regulated and that we can continue to do this. So thank you, Doogie, very much for setting that up. I'm really excited for, again, us to get that opportunity to see each other. Yeah. So we'll continue on. We have a lot of things in the work. I know the PA Beef Council has reached out to us and several other great educational programs throughout the year. So we will have a good schedule. Thank you very much, Anna, for working on that. Also, I sent out an email with all the webinars coming up for through the ACF, as well as the one that we have joined together with the PRLA and starting a career opportunities panel discussion. Anna is one of the panelists that's featured, as well as Casey Callahan, Shanna Schultz, who is a nutritionist, I'd say our resident nutritionist, as well as Rob Billett, who owns and operates a food truck. So a little bit different than seeing a bunch of executive level chefs. It's something, again, for students to jump right into as they graduate. That is May 12th at 6 p.m. I sent out that registration link for that as well. All right, moving on. We have community, actually, I'm sorry, the apprentices and student updates. And Brian, I know you just had 2 students that won a big competition. So if you could take a minute just to share with us, because that's super important. We want to hear about it.
Well, it's not just mine. Bob's also. Our apprentices both won Skills USA State competition for both culinary and pastry. And my secondary student is going on as well. And at our school, a total of 5 individuals are going on to nationals, and 3 of them happen to be from our wing. So we're very, very proud of that. So it is virtual. So Skills USA is going virtual this year. We're very, very excited to see that. And it's amazing how they're using technology and still advancing competition. So it's a lot of fun. So we're very, very honored by that. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be the week of June 14th. So keep them in your prayers and hopefully everything goes okay.
Well, thank you. And Coral, you said the apprentices are back to work, and any updates there you'd like to share?
Nothing really, though. They're just getting hours now, which is, it took a while for them to get their feet back under them, from, putting in full weeks now. But yeah, the chef's working, Chef Arnold and his team's working with me and getting them finish up on their skill galleries that they have to do for the skill gallery part of the portal. And we're gonna be finishing up. Yeah, they're about, I think 3 of them are done with their hours, their 4,000 hours. So now we just have to put our focus towards the certification test, and they're all willing to do it. So now they got to put in the time to get ready for it now.
Any anticipation as to when that'll be?
Right now, I'm thinking mid-May for the written, and we're hoping early June for the practical. We'll just have to see how things develop.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and move on to community involvement. I did meet with Heidi Howard from the PRLA for our 2 main fundraising events that we do throughout the year. We have PA Flavor, which was moved to August 21st at the PA Farm Show Complex there. I did make it known that is before schools will start. So looking at this event, I want to look at it slightly different in that how can our students be a part of it, but maybe not having our own booth there. Having them, maybe that was something she stressed, that a lot of these industry partners are saying, I don't know that I have the staff to send and man a booth. So maybe that's where we can offer some extra assistance, similar to like the Super Chef and other events. I think that would be a good role for us. We're just really getting the planning started. I know Chef Blythe, I heard, was back at Cisco. I thought I had seen him on the call at some point. And I know Heidi has talked with Cisco again about being the main sponsor. So at this point, I know with Chef Blythe and myself, we have a committee formed, but I'm looking for any other volunteers that would like to join that committee for PA Flavor specifically. If anyone is interested, please feel free to speak up. Chef, I see you're unmuted. Chef Reese.
Yeah, I can help you with that part too, since I'm already in the restaurant site, so I can be part of that too.
Okay, that'd be great. No pressure now, but if anyone else would like to join the committee, please certainly reach out and I'll follow up with an email on that. I thank you, Chef. And segueing into our second event, Chef Reese is going to be committee chair for the golf outing this year. Chef Geip has been doing it for years, and last year, really planted the seed that he's ready to pass on that torch. So thank you, Chef, for confirming that. And Chef Reese was happy to, I think that plug was made during the meeting that as Chef was saying that he was looking to become more involved. So thank you, Chef, for taking that on. I would let Chef Tim Cook is the executive chef at the Hershey Country Club. I know him very well. He went through the HACC program. The committee planning is just getting started, but they're looking to take it back to what it was 2 years ago, not necessarily what we did last year. They want to open it back up, the full, lunch and dinner. Again, it's just starting into that planning phase. So would anyone else, I know Renee had volunteered as well to be on that committee. Would anyone else like to be on the planning committee for the golf outing, October 18th?
Our next meeting is May 20th at 3 p.m. is a Zoom meeting, golf outing meeting with the Restaurant Association. So I'll forward that email. I'm pretty sure you have that Zoom, that date, Autumn. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you so anybody can join the meeting at 3 o'clock.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm looking for. Anyone that wants to be involved in the planning, we will have meetings specifically for those events with the PRLA coming down the pike that I want to make sure we're all part of. So yes, if anyone's interested, please reach out. I'll follow up on an email and I'll make sure you have that information there too. Okay. Thank you, Chef. I appreciate again you
Thank you
on that one. Are there any other committee reports? I know most committee members reported no new business, but I wanted to make sure if anything new came up. Any other committee reports? Okay. Any other old business for the meeting? Okay. So one new business item I do want to talk about today, and I'll talk about the national convention at the next meeting then instead. But UNIDO Arts is a new camp that is forming. Chef Geip had sent me an email, and I will be forwarding it out to you all, but I wanted to take a minute to really just touch base on it. It is a camp here that's a 6 to 8 week program for kids in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Chef Geip, did you want to speak a little bit more about it? Okay, so I'll continue on then. She sent an email about here's what they're looking to do. They have taken a church, they are renovating it, cleaning it, they're putting together a program. It's focusing on the arts and culinary arts. She's looking for help, involvement in any way that anyone would like to. So I will send out that email. It's a little bit lengthy of an attachment, but if this is something that you're able and looking for something, community involvement that you can go and pitch in a hand to just clean, a certain area of this church on a Saturday. If you could offer teaching a class, there's so many ways that we can help. Maybe at the next meeting too, we can come back together and think of maybe there's a way for us to donate something, or somebody has some different equipment. So I will send that email out, but knowing that it's lengthy and knowing who my audience is, I want to make sure that I brought extra attention to it. So that way you knew what was coming and you could read further to see how you can get involved. All right, so at that point, at 9:12, I feel we have covered the full agenda. Does anyone else have any new business to bring up for the good of the meeting here?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, well, I do have one thing. I know I brought up to some of the instructors about Derby Day coming up May 1st, I think it is, at the Greystone Brew House, Greystone Range Inn. If anybody can help students, front of the house, back of the house, cooks, servers, bartenders, I was going to run it, but I'll be in El Paso, Texas for 2 weeks during that time, so I won't be able to do it. So if anybody's interested in doing Jason pays pretty well. Anybody's interested in doing, either contact Jason at the brew house or contact Sarah Dinkeldine, who's pretty much in charge of that Derby Day at the brew house. And he's looking for anybody, front of the house. He gave me a schedule like 6 people one day, 4 people one day, like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday all day. So if anybody's interested, you can let me know, or let the Greystone know, or Jason or Sarah.
So that is next week, Chef? Next week, April 30th and May 1st?
It is next week. It is next week already. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be going to El Paso starting this Sunday.
Okay. All right, great. Anyone else, any new business? I know I already had a motion to adjourn. New business? New business? Okay, then I had a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
second. I just need a name. Let's say Terry Wright gave the second, Renee. That way you have that for your notes. Okay. All those in favor of ending our meeting, please vote by saying aye.
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 Well
Any
done
opposed?
tonight.
Thank you.
Excellent
you
meeting.
all
Thank
for
you very
joining
much.
us.
Excellent
Thank
job.
you.
Have a nice
Yes.
evening. See you
Appreciate
later,
you all
Mr. Reyes. Bye,
coming.
Mikey.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Have a great
Ciao,
evening.
ciao. See you later, Charlie.